at Jochen Hahn and Antonio Albacete. The two of them go flying through the right-hand side, then the left-hand side. Jochen Hahn around the outside, and Lucas Hahn, no father and son, come together on the exit of turn 1.
And the best thing about this is the fact that it's still a 15-minute sprint race. They've not extended the time of the race. It's still just like, it's going to be, what, 7 laps of Spa-Francorchamps?
We get to the real nitty-gritty of motorsport. Cranstone and Smith are side by side for the title in the very final race of the season. As they go back up the hill towards the Schumacher. Nils Kor clips the back at 10. Simon Povey clips the side of Nils Kor. They go over the hill and Povey's around. Oh my god, that's going to definitely be the thumbnail, isn't it? Hit me in the right direction. Thank you so much.
23 cars.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head to head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Chaz Draycott Media and welcome to the final round of the 2024 to 2025 FTR Events Production Car Challenge Plus. We're here at the legendary Daytona International Speedway, a circuit that a lot of these drivers will be familiar with of late. It's certainly held a lot of special events, not just in the real world, but in the sim racing world as well, in the month of January. So just heading into February, these guys thought, why not give it one last whirl? You've got myself, Chaz Draycott, and the wonderful Paul Jeffrey in the commentary box. Paul, we both know this place like the back of our hands, even though it's way across the pond from us. This is going to be quite the night of racing, this, with the slipstream coming into effect.
Hello, Chaz. Hello, everybody watching online. And you're absolutely right. This is one of those circuits that are just enshrined in the history of motorsport. It's a legendary venue. It's a roval, but don't worry about that one because this is an awesome roval. And I think, Chaz, with the 4 classes of car that we've got coming into this race, and with the quality of driving that we've seen as well all season long, we're lined up for an absolute slipstreaming classic, aren't we? This is going to be sensational.
Yeah, because let's not forget we've got the BMW M2s, which are considerably the most powerful car out there on circuit. But then, with the point of it being production cars as well, we've got the wonderful GR86s, which aren't the fastest things in a straight line, but they have fantastic handling capabilities. We've then got the very lively and wonderful MX-5s that we've been praising from the start. And then, of course, the VW Jettas, using about 1 litre of fuel every 5 hours to put in some pretty impressive lap times, actually. There's a lot of mechanical grip underneath those Jettas. The only BMW that we have out on circuit at the moment is currently Ben Chalcraft. He's out there in this lovely, lovely Schnitzer throwback with the Wintershall branding all over the car. He's currently 4th in class, and as you could expect, it's Giovanni Romano at the top. Giovanni has pretty much sewn up the championship already. Highest placed GT86, or GR86 I should say, is Austin Tucker. He's got Ryan Chevalier at the top of his class right now. And then we go into the MX-5s, and Martin Pearson is the 2nd placed car there. It's Acton, Matt Acton, currently quickest, but it's mighty close in these classes, isn't it, Paul? 44 thousandths in the MX-5s and then 22 thousandths in our beloved Jettas.
It is indeed. And look there, the first bit of bump draft slipstreaming doesn't work out well. It's a personal hatred of mine, bump draft slipstreaming, but I do know that it is a legitimate and recognised way to go racing when slipstream is your friend. But Chaz, we've seen a bit of disaster already, and it's only practice. I reckon there'll be more of this to come when we get racing.
Yeah, I think Ben Chalcraft got involved in this. I think he had a bit of fun with these guys here. Patrick Dopart lobbing the car around. Ben Chalcraft, oh no. I mean,
oh, Ben couldn't have taken more Jettas out if he tried. This is what it's all about, though. These guys have a lot of fun with all of this. Let's go on board and witness the chaos.
You can almost hear the backside sphincter clenching, can't you,
Yeah.
as the point of contact. And then look at that one. Nothing you can do apart from hold your force feedback's pretty low. That would have come quite keen on a full motion rig for one of those drivers, wouldn't it? Jeez.
I'd have unplugged the entire PC, I would have done. But that was a fantastic moment, though, just to show you the fun of all of this. And, right, let's have a look. Who's the first car out? It was Jeremy Agard in the Volkswagen Jetta. Now, in the pit lane here at Daytona, it's quite important because I think the way in the pit lane and the way out of the pit lane will be quite pivotal. They have to stay on the limiter quite a while until they get to these curbs. Then you still have to be careful because, well, look at the walls around you here, the cones as well. You can easily get done for an unsafe pit entry and exit in this place. So I think, to be honest, Paul, the pit stops are going to be even more important here at Daytona, because let's also not forget that we have the slipstreaming to come into this as well, where drivers could save fuel big time.
Yeah, it's going to be the talking point, I think, over the course of this race, is just looking at the fuel mileage the drivers are getting, see who's playing the long game. There's a couple of strategies that you can realistically employ for an event like this one. Strategy number one that we all know and love, the Jeremy Clarkson version of go fast and loud and see what happens. I don't think that's the right play. I think you're right, Chaz. I think being clever with your fuel strategy, staying in the traffic, using the slipstream. But again, just to re-highlight the point that you made about pit lane, pit entry here on a Roval circuit is so difficult. You're coming in from a great speed. Then you've got to get the car slowed down. It's not particularly easy to spot the line as well in which one you want to hit. If you do that in racing conditions, it can be disgustingly easy, in fact, to get a drive-through penalty. So a lot of time can be won and lost in strategy, but a lot of time can be won and lost attacking that entrance and exit.
Yeah, definitely. You have to really get practicing with that. We've seen a few circuits on the calendar. I mean, Navarra in particular had a very tricky pit entrance. It made Adelaide look simple. And obviously, you know, we won't refer to David Coulthard in that respect, but it's certainly been proven the fact that Adelaide is not an easy place to enter the pit lane, but Navarra is tenfold. Now, this is a very pivotal part of the track, isn't it, Paul? The bus stop chicane in these MX-5s and the likes of the GR86s, they're really having to carry more momentum than the likes of the BMWs, because the BMs have got that much power, they can just rag it on the exit. The MX-5s and the GR86s will need to have a bit more assistance through there, so throwing the weight one way then the other is not going to be easy around that section of the track, is it?
It's going to be absolutely critical. The corner itself, of course, there's time to be won and lost, but the key thing is look how long we've been going in a straight line with this Mazda.
Yeah.
Make a mistake, compromise corner exit, lose a little bit of time through the chicane, and basically that's going to keep rat-a-tat-tatting on the back of your head all the way down what's pretty much a third of the entire racetrack. You're going to carry that advantage or disadvantage until we get into this braking zone for T1 where we are currently. So, yes, minimum apex speed is going to be at the forefront of everybody's mind. Minimise tyre scrub, carry that speed through the corner. Those who get it right, Chaz, are in for a great day. But you make it one small error, get it wrong once, and you've really got a lot of difficult cars trying to find the way past.
Yeah, definitely. It's going to be a mighty difficult race for a lot of drivers. The Jettas, of course, they're going to have a lot of fun, I think, on this one. We've seen them race around here before in previous series. We've seen this man a lot, though, haven't we, Paul? Giovanni Romano. He's won every race so far this season outright. He's had some challenges along the way. I mean, at Navarra, he had some very close competitors with him. I remember as well at the Charlotte Roval in the early stages there, he had to contend. And let's not forget that with Richard Cawthron as well, up near the front at Snetterton, he was a big challenger. So, yeah, I think it's the result sheet shows that Giovanni is absolutely dominated, but that's only in terms of winning each race. His story to get to each of those hasn't been as straightforward, has it?
And let's remember as well that we started off live at the Navarra circuit, then the Charlotte Roval. Although it's a Roval, it's a very different proposition from Daytona. Snetterton could not be any different to the circuit that we're at today, as in Daytona is good, Snetterton is not. So for Giovanni Romano, because of the high levels of slipstreaming on this circuit, even if you're on pole, even if you're the quickest driver, it's desperately difficult to try and claw a gap away from those cars behind. So for me, Chaz, I genuinely think coming into this one across all 4 classes, even the driver that's quote-unquote fastest of that pack are not going to be able to break free. This is going to be a race, quite literally, to this point of the track where the checkered flag falls.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I was saying this just yesterday evening, actually. I was commentating on Daytona as well, funnily enough, doing a 2.4 hours of Daytona there. And we were talking about the fact that we've all watched endurance races here at Daytona, whether they be the real thing or whether they be in the sim. How many times have you seen a race, a long race here, separated by mere hundredths, thousandths of a second at the flag? I mean, think back to the famous LMP2 finish just a few years ago. You know, there was literally, 60 thousandths of a second in it after 24 hours of racing. So this place, it does a very good job at keeping a pack close together. And I think that with the production cars we've got here, we're going to see a lot of that as Chris Chauffeur lobs the GR86 through the chicane. You can see it was lifting the front wheels off the ground then, Paul, as he threw it one way then the other.
And can we all take a moment, ladies and gents, boys and girls, to enjoy the fact there is grass at said chicane? Please, oh please, oh please, real life bring that one back, because it looks horrendous without that grass. It really does spoil it. But Chris Chauffeur, absolutely on the limit at this moment in time. You're very much correct in that assessment. The GR86 being strangled for every bit of lap time it possibly can. And Chris will cross the line in a few moments' time to set his first time of the day. And there we go, right on cue. Time is set, although
I don't think it counted because he was just off the track enough through the bus stop chicane, so I think that invalidated the lap there for track limits, because he came in here on the right hand side. He was way over it though. Alex King now guiding the MX-5 through. Oh, we'll just get away with that as Romano goes quickest in the BMWs. It's Tucker in the GR86s, then Acton in the MX-5s. Patrick Dopart quickest in the Jettas at present, but this MX-5 certainly going up the revs quite quickly, isn't it, Paul? Gets to the top end, and it's at maximum velocity now, and you have to be so smooth on the steering, don't you?
Yeah, it's an unappreciated art, oval racing. I know we're not on the oval, but we are using significant parts of it. To be so conservative in the steering motion, you're minimising the amount of scrub on the tyres. You're getting the car to breathe through the corners. Take the line of least resistance, the shortest distance between yourself and the place that you're going, and it can be very easy, especially in racing conditions, to be a little bit over aggressive in those scenarios. But so far, that's been some very nice driving indeed as we're riding on board with the 15 at this moment in time. But again, this is qualifying. I know I say this in every broadcast I ever do, and I've said it this season multiple times. Qualifying will be important, but more so, Chaz, than anywhere we've gone in 24/25 for the PCC Plus. This track, qualifying means so little, doesn't it? Because it really is a driver's passing paradise.
Yeah, definitely. Drivers have a lot of opportunities here because of the slipstream, but this infield section as well can be quite spicy. This particular part of the circuit as well. Look how bumpy the braking zone is here. Don't forget as well, you've got a bit where it goes from the actual racing surface to concrete, then curb, then concrete, then grass again. And as you just try and open up the corner as much as possible, it's very easy to dip 2 wheels on that right-hand side grass, isn't it? And just unsettle yourself. We've both seen many cars end up in that wall where the camera is located, so it's easy to see that go wrong. And we've got a new driver on circuit tonight as well, Paul, which we've forgotten to mention up to now. Jakub Krafek in the beautiful matte black number 8 BMW M2. He joins in for the final race of the season to see if a proverbial cat can be thrown amongst the pigeons in this one.
Yeah, it's always wonderful, isn't it, to welcome new drivers. Jakub doing a very impressive job, it has to be said, thus far, up there in 3rd position. Although 9/10 of a second away from Romano, there's plenty of lap time still to be found. Not much time on track in which to find it, but so far Krafek doing a fabulous job, and looks like a man who's very much at one with the car as well from the brief bit of time that we've seen him on racetrack. And there we go, everyone likes to see that one. Practice that pit entry. That one's going to pay him back significantly come the race. And that suggests to me, Chaz, that this is a man who's taking it seriously, because he's practicing entry at pit lane, even in quali.
Yeah, fair play to him. And to be fair, if he's on a lap at the moment that he feels isn't representative or isn't going to do the job, then he's thought, you know what, stuff it, I may as well just use this one. Tucker goes quickest by even more in the GR86s now. We look here at Paul Hendricks. We didn't have Paul with us last time out, if I remember rightly, so it's good to see him back in the pack. He crosses the line and goes 6th fastest. No lap time yet from Chris Chauffeur. Jackson Lowry and Austin Farr haven't put times in either. They haven't even spawned into the qualifying session though. Hoping to see Austin out on the circuit in the number 28 machine, because he was quite exciting back at Navarra at the start of the season. Great to see Tom Mayle back with us as well. It's great to have him here, because this, I mean, it's another beautiful, beautiful matte black machine. The Ainsley Harriott branded number 69 car is with us. Tom was really, really quick and exciting, not just at Navarra, but if you remember rightly, Paul, back at the Charlotte Roval as well. A bit of his worst enemy at some points, but Tom was rapid, and I think it's going to work out well for him tonight, as long as he keeps it pointing in the right direction.
Yeah, very fast driver, very entertaining driver, which of course is the most important thing for us good people watching at home. So looking forward to seeing how Tom Mayle does. Has that time off been good to regather the composure, or will there be a little bit of race rustiness? Tell you something, Chaz, we're going to find out, because that qualifying was over very quickly indeed.
It really was.
Build-up time for the race already.
Yeah, that flew by. Absolutely flew by. But let's not forget, it's a very long lap here around Daytona, so you only get 2 or 3 laps in at a time. It's Giovanni Romano that's going to take pole position again this season. The Canadian driver in Car 99 has been absolutely incredible. Richard Cawthrow has picked up the pace since Navarra. He's right at the sharp end as well on the front row of the grid. Jakob Krafek on his debut in the series will start from 3rd. And he's also joined by number 8 enthusiast Ben Chalcraft. Tom Mayle will start from 5th place with number 69 on the doors, and then the 00 car of Connor Hatfield is ahead of Austin Farr. No time from Austin, but it does look like he is actually out there on the circuit in this session, so he should be taking to the race. But we'll move on, Paul, to the GR86s.
So the Toyota GR86 class, Austin Tucker was the fastest driver of the day. A 2 minutes 8.595. Very decent lap time for Austin. 2.5, nearly 3 tenths of a second ahead of Ryan Chevalier in 2nd position. Go Gruber in 3rd place, a couple of tenths further adrift, and then it's Evan Campbell, 4th position, but look at that, 1.1, so didn't get the most out of the car in qualifying. Same can be said of Ron Wolf, who'll line up in 5th position, just ahead of Paul Hendricks. Jackson Lowery and Chris Chauffeur, we saw Chris at least on circuit, but no times were set, so there's still a bit of a question mark coming into this race.
Yeah, they are indeed, but that's one of the best things as a commentator, to not quite know where the form book is at the moment. You never know what you're going to see over the course of a race. It's great to see this in the MX-5s, though. Very, very close. It's Matt Acton fastest, less than a tenth of a second ahead of Martin Pearson, and then Miles Owens in 3rd position, just over a tenth of a second behind, and on a lap that's nearly 2 minutes and 10 seconds. That is pretty remarkable. I mean, the whole field only separated by 7 tenths. Thomas Weston is 4th ahead of Chris Flamion. Alex King is only just under half a second back, and Justin Michaela is only 7 tenths off that. So yeah, not even going from the 2 minutes 9 into the 2 minute 11s. They're actually all in the 209s or the 210s. Ridiculously close. One of the fields of the night, though, Paul, so long as they behave themselves, because we've seen a bit of ropey behaviour in the past, will be the Jettas tonight. These should be good fun.
These really should. My favourite class, without any shadow of a doubt. The VW Jetta class, Patrick Dopar, the quickest driver. 2 minutes 10.828 is the lap time to beat. A tenth away is Henry Morse up there in 2nd position. But look how close behind is Jake Cranstone. Starting from 3rd place, but very much in the conversation for the victory. Jermaine Agard, had a good qualifying, lining up in 4th position. Eric Manintveld will be 5th, and then Sam Van Olst will round out the top 6 of our beautiful VW Jetta class.
Thank you very much, Paul. It should be a very, very interesting night of racing, this one. I'm looking forward to seeing how they utilise all of the slipstream. It's just the warm-up session at the moment, so the drivers have a little bit of time left to get reacquainted with the circuit. Here is Austin Farr, the man that nearly dethroned Giovanni Romano back at Navarra at the start of the season. Lovely to have him back on the grid. He's going to be starting from the back of the class, though, but still, that'll only be 7th position, so he's not got a whole host of cars to make his way through. If I remember rightly as well, Austin was with us for Charlotte Roval, wasn't he? But he had an incident in the early stages which put him out of contention, didn't he?
See, Austin's one of these drivers that I'm looking forward to seeing a bit more of in this race. You say he starts at the back of the class, and absolutely right, there's only 7 cars in class. So in terms of the number of cars in front of you, it is not insurmountable. But Chaz, I'd argue being a little bit further back, certainly in the opening few laps, opening few stages of this race, it's not a bad place to be.
No.
Good for fuel saving, you don't get wrapped up in other people's problems, and I reckon the BMWs will get into lapping traffic really, really quickly in this race. So perhaps not being the first one to wake a back marker up to your presence ain't a bad spot to find yourself if you're Austin Farr.
No, definitely not. You're absolutely right. I think that Austin will be in a great position to sort of take a few laps, take, even half an hour or so, just to assess the cars that are around him, assess where he is in comparison to them, and then how he can approach maybe the second stint of the race. Get some fuel numbers calculated, figure out how it is in the moment, get that first pit stop done, and then you've written a bit of a template for the rest of your other stints, haven't you? You can then assess it as the race goes on, maybe attack every so often, because patience is going to be one of the key things around here tonight. The drivers have to be patient with one another on the banking, and even on this infield section down here as well. I think we're going to see maybe a few drivers scare some of these slower classes around there, but you know what? It's part of the fun in endurance multi-class racing, isn't it?
Yeah, I could not agree more. It is going to be a very interesting dogfight, I think probably is the best word to use for this one. It's going to be a case of survival for a lot of the drivers. You've got to go like stink, of course, and you need to stay out of trouble. That's going to be the key. Sometimes they stay out of trouble really well, Chaz, and sometimes it leaves a little bit to be desired.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely does, mate. So the final grid of the season then in the FTR Events Production Car Challenge Plus is Giovanni Romano and Richard Cawthraw on the front row. Jakob Krafek and Ben Chalcraft make up row 2. Then it's Tom Mayle and Connor Hatfield on row 3. Austin Farr, the last of the BMWs, but definitely one to watch, is 7th, ahead of Austin Tucker, who's hoping to take the GR86 class this evening. Ryan Chevalier is in 9th place with Georg Gruber in 10th. Evan Campbell is 11th with Ron Wolf alongside him, also in the GR86s. Then it's Paul Hendricks and Chris Schofer. Jackson Lowry, another driver that didn't set a time in qualifying. It doesn't look like he's taken to the grid though, unfortunately. It's then Matt Acton in the MX-5s with Martin Pearson and Miles Owens behind him. Then it's Thomas Weston and Chris Flamion on row 10. Alex King and Justin Michaela complete the MX-5s. We then have Patrick Dopart leading the Jettas. Henry Morse next up alongside him, with Jake Cranstone and Jeremy Agard on the 13th row. Eric Manintveld and Sam Van Olst are next up. We do appear, Paul, to have not had two cars take to the grid here, and that, as I mentioned, is Jackson Lowry, but Eric Manintveld in the Jetta as well. So I'm wondering whether he's hoping for a pit lane start to try and get some advantage from somewhere.
Yeah, not a bad shout as well, just to avoid the calamity and chaos heading down into T1, because of course we come down into T1 at a great rate of knots, then there's lots and lots of twisty corners. So to be out of the way, Chaz, is not a bad thing. But goodness me, sir, edge of my seat, I am perched. This is going to be quite entertaining, methinks.
Indeed, indeed. I'm very, very excited. I'm just wondering now where these BMWs are going to go. I think they're probably going to wait right to the line. We've got the GR86s much further back here. Tucker on the outside line. Interestingly as well, because it obviously staggers the grid, some of the classes have their lead driver on the outside, like the GR86s and the MX-5s. Others have them on the inside, like the Jettas. So it's very, very spicy there. Let's get the final race of the season underway, shall we? The FTR Events Production Car Challenge Plus has its finale underway here at Daytona, and it is Giovanni Romano leading Richard Cawthraw, Jakob Krafek across the line, and it's the Matt Black Brigade on the inside there that are just trying to keep it nice and tidy. All of them keeping it clean around the first corner. Back to the GR86s, Paul. This may be a bit more lively.
Yeah, here we go then. We've already seen the template of how to do it. Can the GR86s do the same thing? Round Chevalier gets into a race lead. Austin Tucker then dropping down to second position. Gruber behind, buying in now for the Mazdas.
Oh, there's a bit of contact there between Miles Owens and Martin Pearson. Don't think Miles knew that he was there all that time. Bit of contact at the back of that as well, involving Justin Michaela. The Jettas make their way around as well. Morse, Cranstone, Dopart, Van Olst, Jeremy Agard, Eric Maninveld's actually coming out of the pits on the left-hand side of all this lot. Let's have a look at how he slots in here. He might have had some sort of advantage. No, he's right with them, and fair enough to him. He doesn't jump in the way of any of them in that moment. But Giovanni Romano leads the race outright in the BMWs. A very clean start for him. But it's all about the GR86s and their battle, because Chevalier got that lead nice and tidy on the inside, and they're all piling in behind him now.
Yeah, Chevalier's done the job that he needed to do off of the line, but that's only a small percentage of the overall challenge ahead of us. 1 hour, 38 minutes and 42 seconds left to go. Austin Tucker will be in fuel-saving mode, make no mistake about this one. It's going to be a bit of follow my leader, I think, for his first few laps, and I wouldn't even be surprised if Chevalier decides to back away from this one and insert himself further in the queue.
Yeah, you've got to be really careful of the slipstream in these parts of the track. Good stuff, though, being shown by Georg Gruber in third place there, because he could really easily just push these guys. He's giving them a little bit of a kiss, but look, they're backing up early to make sure that they don't pile into one another through the bus stop chicane. God, it feels really slow in these GR86s through there. I think they're all just being mighty, mighty careful. What about the MX-5s? Matt Acton's gorgeous TSRC car leads the way. He's got Chris Flamme on 7 tenths behind him, actually. Chris has then got the pile of Martin Pearson, Alex King, Justin Michaela in there with him. Miles Owens has dropped back slightly. He's now going to push Tom Weston around here. The all-white entry, seemingly like some sort of privateer colour scheme for Tom. They're getting a bit of a wiggle on there, but to be fair, in these MX-5s, they're pretty stable cars, so you can get away with a bit of that. They'll be all right. They buzz their way now across the line to complete the first lap of the night. What about Patrick Dopart and squad? Henry Morse, Jake Cranstone, Sam Van Olst trying to go around the outside with the run there, Paul.
I like that one. That's a very nice manoeuvre indeed. Wow, good driving as well from both drivers not to over-squabble on this one. You can lose the time. Van Olst, though, has got some kind of turbo enabled. Thank you very much. That was a run and 3/4. He's going to take a turn at the front of the pack. That's not a bad place to be. I know these cars are fuel efficient, but of course, anybody that gets a slipstream is going to get a fuel advantage. So for Van Olst, I think it's just a case of taking a turn up front there. I don't think it's a real bid for glory, as Ron Wolf tries to have a little bid for glory as well in the number 20, holding on to position from a charging pack behind.
Yeah, they're having a lovely time in the GR86s again, aren't they? Having a really, really good time at the present moment. You can see, look at that in the BMWs there, flashing by in the background. That looked really, really cool. But look who's over the horizon here, Paul. The MX-5s are on their way. Their individual lap times may not be quicker all the time than the GR86s are capable of, but I think we're going to see a real mixture here between the three classes. There was actually a message earlier on in the FTR Discord from, I think it was Martin Pearson that actually posted it. I'm just trying to find it right now. Yes, he said this will be interesting if the three slower classes combine, because that's what they were expecting. Georg Gruber said the Toyotas aren't going to be able to race properly in fear of getting caught by the Mazdas. So there's very, very much a lot of the drivers here really cautious about how this night's going to go for them, because look, they are going to be getting very close together, because the MX-5s, they may not have the cornering speed in the infield section of the circuit for the GR86s, but top speed stuff, it just looks brilliant.
Yeah, this conversion between the two classes happening a little bit quicker, in fact, than I expected. Tom Weston up on the high line at this moment in time, so he's got shuffled out of that particular battle pack. No problem for Tom, though. He's going to lose some time, but he'll make it back up again. Getting back to my point, though, is this conversion between the two classes has come a lot sooner than I thought, and I think we're absolutely right, Chaz. I think this is going to completely annihilate everybody's strategy coming into this one, because you're going to have to race. You'll have no choice. There will be cars around you jockeying for position, and this is really going to put the cat amongst the pigeons, I think, in these two.
Thomas Weston's just gone really slowly here, and I was just trying to figure out why. He's just dropped 4 seconds to the guys ahead of him. The headlights are now ablaze. Sam Van Olst still leads the way with the Jettas chasing him down on their way into turn 1. They all look so clumsy, don't they, these Jettas sometimes. Eric Manningfeld at the back of this, trying to pick out somewhere to go. Look at the beautiful golden sky there. The only thing making that scene prettier is these Jettas, I think, in this scenario. Fantastic, fantastic looking bit of motorsport we've got going on here.
Yep, I love this. Every single time, without fail, that I see the VW Jettas, I think, man, I need to get my iRacing account back up and running. You're looking at it thinking, God, I want a piece of that one. It looks absolutely fantastic. By the way, Jakub Krafek started in 3rd position in the BMW M2 CS racing class, down in 5th. So he's had some kind of adventure that's dropped him behind our lead 4 cars. So Jakub, perhaps finding life in the PCC Plus a little bit more challenging than qualified suggested it would be.
Yeah, I think it's never as straightforward as as qualifying makes out, is it? It's certainly a spicy one when the race gets going. But the only problem here for Jakub Krafek and Ben Chalcraft is they've got 2.6 seconds to Tom Mayle ahead.
So Tom has now disappeared up the road, and he is right behind the likes of Austin Farr, and then, of course, Richard Cawthron and Giovanni Romano. This is the top quartet at the moment. Got Ainsley Harriott all over the matte black machine. Funnily enough, actually, in the hotel yesterday evening, Charlotte and I both woke up at like 5 a.m. and we ended up with Ainsley Harriott on TV for about 2 hours watching him make a load of African dishes. And we were really enthralled by it and didn't want to go back to sleep. So it's great to see Ainsley being represented here tonight, as he would say. Yeah, boy. Giovanni Romano, though, it's normal now to see him at the front, isn't it, Paul? He's doing a fantastic job. And I think maybe the guys behind, like we saw earlier, just choosing to sit in second, third and fourth at this moment.
Oh yeah, absolutely. This smells of strategic driving at this moment in time. There's no desire whatsoever to have a go at the back of Giovanni Romano's car, and Romano will know this as well. He'll be pushing at 97, 98% of his capacity at this moment. Don't want to take too much out of the car when it's not necessary. Basically, it's high-speed chess that we're witnessing here. It's strategic masterclass from the drivers. Hold your water, hold your horses for as long as you possibly can. Only show your card when you're about to lay them on the table. And I do think Romano possibly will look to blow himself down artificially, Chaz, and snurdle in behind the cars behind for a little while to share some of the slipstreaming love.
Yeah, no worries. I think that he's going to just take it easy throughout this. He's got the championship wrapped up. We've been sent the championship standings as they are at present. Giovanni Romano has 75 points, 25 for a win. So another thing I love about this series is it's not one that gives out a ridiculous like 600 points for winning a race.
Yes.
And you know what, you don't get 38 points for finishing in 60th. Look at this from Austin Farr. He says, I'm not finishing 60th. Round the outside he goes. He's fed up of sitting behind Cawthron and Romano after just 2 laps. And he goes, yeah, lap 4's the time. Throws it around the outside. Tom Mayle says, yeah, I'm going to go around the full oval and lob it back round turn 1. Still a quartet for the lead. But yeah, Giovanni Romano, 75 points. Richard Cawthron, second in the championship on 43. And then there's a big gap back to Tom Mayle, Austin Farr, Ben Chalcraft and Ale Torres. 26, 24, 23 and 22 points each. So they are definitely in with the fight tonight of best of the rest. In the GR86s, though, in their championship right now, it's all to play for between Austin Tucker and Georg Gruber. They are only separated by 7 points right now. Austin Tucker on 50, Georg Gruber on 43. They've got a 13-point buffer over Ryan Chevalier, but he is leading this race right now from Austin Tucker. So it could all change very quickly here tonight, Paul. I'm not sure on the points for the exact position, but you know what? I think by the end of this night, we might be able to calculate it based on just who finishes ahead of who, because it's been that close. Interestingly, in the Jettas, it's actually Stephen King and Jack Johns that are the top 2, and neither of them are here tonight. Patrick Dopart's on 39 points, Jake Cranstone's on 37. Jake Cranstone leads the race, and Patrick Dopart's 5th. Well, he did lead it, did Jake? He doesn't anymore.
There's a big opportunity for all of our drivers, and I think they'll come into this one, simplise things. Simplise, that's not even a word. Simplify things. Just win the race, and then everything else will fall into place or not as things stand. And that's got to be the tactic for all these drivers. Let's just survive this race. It's only an hour and 40 minutes. Doesn't sound like a lot when a 24-hour spectacular's been around here lately, but it really is. In these cars this close, with the competition this high, it is such a challenge for these drivers. So get through the race and see how things shake out a little bit further down the line. Jake Cranstone, by the way, is shaken out into second position. So the VW Cup cars, the Jetta class diesel machines that we're looking at, Cranstone doesn't look quite as comfortable at this moment in time. But again, got to take it with a pinch of salt, Chaz. This probably is just strategic driving for now, isn't it, from all of these drivers?
Yeah, exactly. And that's what it's got to be. You know, you have to take every lap as it comes in a race like this. You can't plan too far ahead in this opening stint. You have to just see how it runs and, you know, assess where the other drivers are around you, who might be a driver that's on the pace, and like I said before about the BMWs, where your fuel level is at as well, what you can make of the fuel in the first stint, get your numbers together, and then attack the other stints based on the information that you've gained. So I think stint 1 in a race like this is one you can never plan for. It's why I never understand why people... Oh, okay, Sam. Why people in the very first stint of like a 24-hour race, I don't know what Sam is doing. What are you doing, Sam? I mean, these lot all have a laugh. I mean, as Jack Johns has shown us before, they all have an absolute riot to these boys, but That was just balmy from Sam Van Olst. I really don't get what he was doing there. There's breaking the stream by having a bit of a wiggle one way than the other, but that was just crazy.
Really trying to keep each other entertained, isn't it, when you're racing in this battle pack? Speaking of a battle pack, let's have a look down at the Toyota GR86s, and we've got quite the squabble going on. Now, we've spoken ad nauseum in this race about playing the strategic percentages game, about building everything up. All the Toyota guys are ignoring that one, threw it completely out the window. Go Gruber is in a bit of a fight here. We can see the 1-2-3, beautiful livery on our 4th position car. Just behind Gruber, we have got Ron Wolf. He was looking a bit enthusiastic, but that's a great opportunity, people watching at home. That shows you exactly what Chaz and I have been speaking about. A little bit of squabbling, 2 corners of side-by-side action, and then immediately you've got a 3-4 tenths of a second gap. Yes, you close it up quickly, but a couple of tenths here, Chaz, a couple of tenths there, over an hour and 40 minutes, they add up to an almost insurmountable amount of time.
Yeah.
You've got to play it smart as a driver. You've got to think big picture.
Yeah, absolutely. At the end of the day, it comes back to what we were saying before. You know, how many long-distance races around Daytona have you seen separated by thousandths or hundredths of a second? It all adds up. If you sit behind somebody and you're not quite assessing every single lap, you could be losing a second a lap behind someone for the added benefit of saving a bit of fuel or trying to just use that slipstream. But could the slipstream not be worth what you lose in the infield? And listen to how long they've got to wait here. They're braking so early on the way into this bus stop. It could not be worth it for some of the drivers. So later on in the race, you have to go, no, I can't deal with this now. I can't sit here and just wait for this to go away. Because if you lose the race by 2 seconds or so come the end, then, that could have been in the first stint that's happened.
But a bit of thinking power that you need to apply as well is that mighty annoying noise of a Mazda MX-5 behind you.
Yeah.
Because Matt Acton, slowly but surely, catchy, is closing onto the back of those GR86s. When you've got a few Mazda MX-5s in the mix, that changes everything completely, increases jeopardy. In fact, who was that in pit lane that we've just seen in the blue 86? Somebody has just jumped down pit lane, so that's unusual.
Wolf, yeah, Ron Wolf.
Wolf, yeah.
Oh, he's going to have to reverse as well now. Now, could this be a case of the boy who cried wolf? Is he pretending that they need to pit this early and he's just trying to scare everyone into it? Don't know if he's got something else going on. Hopefully not. Hopefully whatever Ron has going on there, he's all right. Giovanni Romano has got Austin not too far behind him. Gets quite the nudge in the rear there, giving him a bit of encouragement. But I know what Austin will want to do here. He will want to sit in the slipstream of Giovanni and push him further away from the likes of Cawthorne and Mayle. And, oh, it's about to get spicy, Paul, because look at that. That's an emissions gang in front. Oh, my word. Oh, my, look at Tom. Oh, bye, Tom. Look at Tom Mayle here down the inside. Cawthorne, they're 3 wide. Jetta's involved. I don't know what class is what here. They're all a similar shape. Tom Mayle has got past 2 of them down the inside. He's now into second place right behind Romano. He's played that beautifully as all the Jettas stay on the left. All the Beamers go on the right. No, never mind. Is he going to get through into the lead? Is Mayle? He's going to try something here, surely. He's got to be on the outside of the Jettas now. Van Olst and Jake Cranstone on the inside. Fair play to him. I hate to jinx this, but they're all doing a great job at managing this as traffic, whether it be the overtakers or the overtakees. That's phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal stuff by everyone involved there. Austin Farr down the inside, Sam Van Olst to get the job done. Epic. That was a fantastic example of how to do multi-class racing, that.
Yeah, that was really picture perfect. It's so difficult. You can so easily get wrapped up in some dramas, but from everybody concerned, the gaps are pretty much as they were coming into this one. Beautiful stuff. Let's take a look at Tom Mayle in the black machine at the back of this BMW pack. He has the advantage of some heads-up driving. He can see everything occurring ahead of him, uses a bit of grass as well, does Tom. But look at the commitment at the inside. Beautiful stuff. Almost catches the back of our race leader Romano as well for good measure. And basically, the seas did part in front of Tom Mayle. That was heads-up driving at the highest order. Great stuff.
That was absolutely epic. They were 4 wide at one point as well. Austin Farr had to get out of that one. Oh, Tom nearly clipped Jake Cranstone there, but you know what? He did all right, all in all. It was the 23 of Patrick Dopart that lost out quite a bit there. He's now 3rd in the Jetta class, but yeah, that was mega. Really mega. Absolutely loving that display. Austin Farr has gone past Tom Mayle now for 2nd place overall in this race. Tom doesn't want any of that. Now Richard Cawthorne wants to cut back in on him as well. We go on to the roof camp.
Fantastic sounding BMW M2s. A friend of mine just bought one of these actually, just last week. I don't know if I mentioned that on the previous stream, but he bought one just over the weekend. And Richard just slots back in, tries a cutback, but again, at this point you don't need to push too hard, do you? You don't need to overdo it in this stage.
Yeah, you have a little bit of it. This is positioning. This is all about the long game. It's not for the now. It's for about an hour and 15 minutes down the road. That's what these drivers are thinking about. But they're also the racers at the end of the day. And as you've mentioned, everybody's here for a good laugh. So they're going to enjoy a little bit of squabbling and a little bit of fighting amongst themselves. Because, hey, why not? You're already out. You're on the racing rig. You're with some people that you've raced a few times and respect. You're quite happy to get a little bit excited as Austin Farr goes very, very deep as we enter the oval section of the racetrack. That is going to give an opportunity to Cawthron, who gets into the slipstream, follows the wheel tracks. We'll be thinking about it into the chicane, but he's just a bit too far back, I think, on this one.
Yeah, I think he's just going to push him. If he gets up to him, he's not going to try and move here, because he knows that if he tries to send Austin Farr defensive, as MX5 there, that's Tom Weston. If he sends Farr defensive now, they're just going to lose Tom Mayle, and then even if Tom gets distracted by it, he's going to lose Giovanni. So it's not going to help anybody. Ryan Chevalier leads the way in the GR86s from Austin Tucker, Georg Gruber, and then Evan Campbell in this as well. All these guys glued to each other. Look at the slipstream. These cars are mad for slipstream. It's really, really interesting to see how much suck these cars have got, as they say. And with those big wings on the back and not a lot of power, they punch quite the hole in the air compared to how much shove the engine gives the car. So, yeah, real slipstreaming machine. It's like the Clios on iRacing, the Renault Clio Cup cars. They honestly, it's like a black hole forms around the rear bumper of those Clios, and they all just get sucked into it. Tom Mayle has now dropped into 4th place with the other guys going past him. There's constant position changes in every class. This is brilliant.
Really fantastic stuff. And look at this one, Matt Acton leading the Mazda MX-5 pack. He had a comfortable advantage last time we checked in a few moments ago. Now he's very much under pressure. That's Chris Flamignon behind. Just keeping a watching brief in the huge ass car. Not too concerned at this moment in time to launch an attack. But what Flamignon will be hoping for is either an easy opportunity or even better, scaring Matt off the racetrack. I don't think Acton, though, is going to fall for that one as they continue as they were with a steaming horde of BMWs rapidly approaching.
Yeah, the BMWs are not far away at all. They will be on these lot very, very soon. And I'm excited to see how the MX-5s take that, to be honest with you. I think it's going to be exciting to see how the championship standings all finish as well, because in the MX-5s, Martin Pearson is on 56 points. He's just in 3rd place there in the Matt Black car. Look at that, the Beamers have easily gone past. Let's just have a look at the speed difference, because it's one of the funniest things about this championship. It's like being on the M6.
Don't look massive. Don't look massive compared to these. It's like playing toy cars with a lad. It's absolutely bonkers.
They do look absolutely huge. It's hilarious, isn't it? But that's one of the best things about the BMWs, because it's the biggest. Well, I mean, the Jetta's a big-looking car, but you know, in this field, compared to the MX-5, the BMW does look huge, but it's got so much of a pace advantage. It is like an absolute missile in comparison. Pearson gives a hell of a hit to the back of Chris Flamignon. Alex King in this as well. Flamignon is actually 2nd in the championship, and he's 14 points back from Pearson. Dan Pepples is not with us this evening. He is Flamignon's only real contender. Although Miles Owen's actually 6 points back, but he is a bit further down in the order. He's 6th in the group. And oh, dearie me, we have had drama for our championship leader in the GR86s, Paul. Austin Tucker has been in the barriers, and Georg Gruber has been in there as well. That is our top 2 in the championship. Cawthron has been through the pit lane. It has all gone to pot. And Tucker, you know what? He's actually not done a bad move there. He's going to try and get back to the pits as soon as possible to get that car repaired. But there has been a huge drama for these cars on the start-finish straight.
That's a real shame for Austin Tucker, of course.
Oh.
The worst part of the racetrack. What's happened this? We picked it up a little bit late. It's coming away from the wall.
I think it's one of the BMs. Rich Cawthron got involved in this.
Oh, dear.
Oh, Tucker's moved up. Oh, man. Oh, man.
Oh, that's taking a lot of BMWs out of play as well. Austin Tucker, a moment of not concentrating fully.
I think he just tried to move out of the way, and I know a lot of these. Oh no, he was staying in the slipstream of Chevalier, then tries to get out of the way. Oh, that's devastating. I was going to say, it's the move itself is on Austin, but I don't think he did necessarily anything wrong at the same time. That's a horrific one. Rich Cawthron ended up in the pit lane and coming back out of the pit lane. Oh, that's so devastating, man. Let's just go on board with Austin again. Look at how little he had to do with this. Unfortunately, the mirrors aren't showing anything, but he moves up the circuit to follow Chevalier. He's hoping to go on the outside, and then I think Austin just hesitates. He finds himself in the middle of the road, doesn't he?
Yeah, that's the fight. That's the one where you recognise that you've got a problem too late.
Yeah, he froze up. Look, he goes down and then he just freezes up there. He just freezes, and then
that's when you see the joining speed of the BMWs is just too great. And Joe Gruber, massively unlucky for Gruber as well. Complete innocent party, got taken out by the mayhem and meddler. Now, the good thing is these guys and gals can get back in pit lane and get a repair on that car. They're still going to score big points, but what it's completely done is broken up those slipstream packs that we've seen at this stage in the race. Now, we've got multiple drivers on very different strategies, very different parts of the racetrack, and it was always going to be a challenge to decide who's going to come out at the top, Chaz. Now, every single cat in the world has been thrown into every single pigeon in the world, and we get to pick out what happens.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't really know of any way to pick that apart. I mean, Austin Farr is now leading the race from Tom Mayle and Giovanni Romano. So Giovanni in third position. I wonder whether he's got any damage from that incident and that's been hurting him. Steering looks like it's all right. It's not really out of place. Yeah, he's still having to turn left a little bit on the banking, which you don't often really have to do. Ron Wolf has now had a drama as well in the GR86s. Let's have a look. 250 Ks for him. That's quite top end for the BMW. It's kind of normal, so I don't necessarily think there's anything wrong with the car, but we'll see. Ron Wolf has had a drama with the Jettas here. He's moved out of the way, and I think he's just going to pull over. Yeah, he was in the pits earlier, wasn't he? I think Ron's just got some sort of issue, and it's unfortunately put an end to his race early. I love these conditions where it's sort of twilight, and you can see that the headlights on the cars are at least doing something. You know, they are lighting up the cars around them. If we go on board with Chris Flammey here, you can see the glow of the wonderful sky. Look at that, it's blue above the roll cage, and it's completely orange below it. That's fantastic. It's like the horizon indicator on an aircraft. But then you've got the glow of the headlights. Look at it round the banking. It looks so cool here at Daytona. These MX-5s are an absolute riot. You've got the glow of the lights as well. Miles Owens, after saying he was 6th earlier in the MX-5s, now leads the class, albeit by about a headlight's width from Matt Acton.
Yeah, this is as close as you want it to be, and these drivers will be well aware indeed, that there's been some kind of shenanigans on the racetrack. They'll be keen not to repeat this one. Matt Acton retakes that race lead. He's got the low line, as we call it in NASCAR, but look just a little bit further back. The closing speed is absolutely incredible if you get the good run. But getting a run is one thing, going side by side to the braking zone is another matter entirely. Miles Owens still on the attack. Matt Acton still leading the class. But all of these drivers, Chaz, to me at least, they do seem like caution mode has been disengaged somewhat, and everybody seems to be a little bit more movie, a little bit more aggressive, a little bit more interested in making something happen for themselves.
Yeah, 100%. They're definitely wanting to turn this race into more of a race than just a procession where they try and save fuel from one another. They're certainly spicing it up, and look at these lot spicing it up. This is the entire Jetta class together here, all 6 cars. We ride on board with Patrick Dopart, who is currently 3rd in the championship, but as long as he gets 19 points tonight, I think actually he has to win the race to win the championship from Stephen King. I don't think you get 20 points for 2nd position. I think you get less than that, considering how this looks, but Stephen King's on 48 points, Dopart is on 39, so shut up, Chaz, you don't need 19 points. I was talking about how bad my maths was yesterday for the whole broadcast. He only needs 9 points, does Dopart, so he could finish probably in the top 5, I'd say, and he'd still be alright. So as long as he keeps his nose clean here, he could win the championship. He just doesn't need to have Jake Cranstone too many places ahead, because he will take it. Jake is only 2 points behind him right now, and he is 3 positions ahead of him. So by my reckoning, with how things are here, Cranstone will win the championship.
And you made a big statement there of all he has to do is keep his nose clean.
Yeah, these are the Jettas.
Words Yeah, those words fall out of the mouth very, very easily, but it's not necessarily quite the case on the racetrack, it has to be said. Although the MX-5s are doing a damn fine job of showing us what spicy racing can look like, here we go again for the race lead. Miles Owens on the outside line, Matt Acton on his favoured inside run to the line. The shortest way to get there, trying to go a little bit tight as well. Just put the pressure on each other. Riding on board, Martin Pearson with the best view in the house. Into the braking zone, into T1. Everybody's nice and early on the brakes, and everybody reconvenes for another crack of the whip. Love this.
It's great stuff by Miles Owens, though. He's just giving it a little stab here and there at Matt Acton, and he's forcing him to go defensive. And Matt is keeping the car in the right place at the right time, though. He's just holding that inside line, ensuring that Miles doesn't get enough of an overlap to get rid of the overlap to get in front of him. He's just ensuring that he stays alongside him enough to keep that inside line all to himself. Really clever driving by Matt Acton, but also by Miles. He's not pushing too hard here and causing any dramas. And that's the thing, you don't want to be the car in a pack like this that causes a drama. We've got Justin Michaela and then Alex King really close to the back of these guys as well. A little bit of dust being kicked up there. Justin Michaela's windscreen wipers come on just to get rid of that. What a gorgeous sight we've got here though, Paul. These conditions look epic, don't they, here on iRacing, with all of the day-night cycle and everything added. It's just getting prettier and prettier all the time, but yeah, it just looks mega right now at Daytona. It's an iconic sort of scene, this, isn't it, with the sun setting?
Do you know, I was just going to say that one. If you race at Daytona and you don't race in fading light conditions, it's like going to Spa-Francorchamps and not going in the rain. It is just absolutely, they come together perfectly. And beautiful, beautiful shots. iRacing really stepping it up in the visuals department, it has to be said. Very atmospheric conditions indeed. Austin Farr, by the way, is having a very atmospheric time of it. Leading the pack. How long for, though? Because Tom Mayo, he's been a bit of a mover and shaker as Tom, hasn't he, in this race? He's always been either going forwards or going backwards, never kind of stationary for too long. And I think Tom probably doesn't fancy this one at this moment in time, and that's going to make him a little bit vulnerable to, yep, you guessed it, Romano in third behind, hunting, watching and waiting.
Yeah, he'll be there. Romano will be there. So will this man as well. Richard Cawthron may have had that incident and he's taken a fast repair. He's now over 2.5 minutes down on the leaders. So long as he finishes tonight, he should hold second place in the championship. The next drivers behind him are Tom Mayle and Austin Farr, and they are on 26 and 24 points respectively. And Richard Cawthron's on 43. So he's 17 points clear of those guys. As long as he scores a couple here tonight, he should be okay. We will go and check the championship points that are scored for each position towards the end of the race and just get an idea of where people may finish and try and do a bit of the maths. But I think at this point it might write itself really with where people will be. We've got Jetta's, well, they were showing his entering pit lane there because he came so far down the apron that the car's actually triggered the pit entry, but we get a bit of that. One thing I'm really not looking to, Paul, I mean, we love a good moan and a good whinge, don't we? But one thing I don't want is to see anybody at the end of this race going below that apron to overtake anybody, going below that yellow line. I can't stand it when you see that at the end of a race, because in my mind, you know, you've spent the whole race above it. That is the track limit. You shouldn't be allowed to go below it and overtake somebody.
Yeah, strongly agree on that one. The racing limits have been defined for a reason in regulation, so absolutely need to stay within said limits. Evan Campbell, by the way, first time we picked this car up over the course of the race with 1 hour and 10 minutes left to go. Evan doing a grand job up there in second position in the GR86 class. We saw dramas, obviously, for the GR86s, and Chevalier is comfortably 3 seconds up the road. You don't see that very often outside of a pit cycle at Daytona. But Evan Campbell doing a really, really good job at this moment in time. Paul Hendricks not too far afield just yet, but I think Evan, he pretty much has a handle on this one, doesn't he, up in second place, and looking relatively confident with it as well.
Yeah, exactly. He's holding on to that position nicely. It's good to have Paul Hendricks back as well. And Chris Schofer's not too far off the back of them. But right now, Ryan Chevalier, well, after the earlier dramas, he's now got a bit of a comfortable lead, and he's holding it quite well, actually, considering that he's got no slipstream and the cars behind will have the opportunity to bump, draft and work together. Chevalier's doing a really standout job now, and to be honest, if he can go on and continue to win this race, I'll be quite surprised. I didn't, even I didn't expect that sentence to go that way, but halfway through I remembered. He's going to be using more fuel than these guys if he's all on his own at the front, isn't he? So he may not be able to save as much if the others continue to work together.
But, and that's a big one, there's a lot of minutes left to go in this race. So yes, you might be leading now, but then second stint, you can start to do a bit of fuel saving as well. There's certainly plenty of options. Up front, Sam Van Olst retakes the race lead, but Sam Van Olst decides, don't want to be there anymore, time to dive down pit lane. Chaz, does this feel to you a little bit earlier than maybe we would have expected from Sam in the VW Jetta?
Yeah, maybe. I think he was an early leader, wasn't he? So maybe he just can't do that added lap that the others can, as there's some dramas here. I just heard...
Oh, that's a place to be.
Squeaking of metal and all sorts of madness. Tom Mayle has gone 4 wide. They're 3 by 2 there into the International Horseshoe. That is pretty remarkable. Tom Mayle has got Jettas on his right somehow, and Giovanni Romano does the same. I mean, thanks to the BMW's power advantage, you can do that, but I'm sure the Jettas would rather they didn't.
Yeah, that's asking for it, isn't it?
I held my breath there.
It really is.
Wow.
Giovanni Romano, though, that was very interesting to follow the same tactic. Worked really well for Romano, though, so he's not lost any ground to Tom Mayle whatsoever. And again, this is the whole thing, isn't it? You're the lead pack, you're the ones that wake up the other classes to your presence when you come and approach them. If you're Romano, if you're Mayle, if you're Krafek as well down there in 4th position, you can take advantage while everybody else is squabbling for their own bit of space. You can use that to your advantage and try and make a little bit of ground up. But definitely eye-opening times for our Jetta drivers, and again, really well done from everybody for getting through that one relatively unscathed.
Yeah, really, really good job. They did a fantastic bit of work there, and it may have been risky, but you know what, keeps it exciting for us lot, doesn't it, at the same time. So, Miles Owens continues to lead in the MX-5s. Chris Flamion and then Martin Pearson are next up. Then it's Alex King and Justin Michaela. Matt Acton has come into the pit lane. Maybe the first pit stop for the MX-5s here as well, coming to fruition. Thomas Weston is making his way in. That looked a little bit fast.
Oh dear.
He was still slowing down on his way in. Austin Farr is now coming in as well. He's the first of the BMWs to do what seems to be a fuel stop. Tom Mayle now inherits the lead from Giovanni Romano. I don't get why he's going that wide out there, is Tom. I'm not sure I agree with that, to be honest, but he's not gaining too much from it because he's still having to wrangle the car on the exit. Again, that's another thing where if I was a series organiser, I'd rather he didn't.
Yeah, I agree. Try and keep it within the confines of the track limits at all times, of course. But as we're seeing several drivers in now, Krafek is the latest of the BMW squad. So all of these drivers, in my calculations, had at least another lap in this one. So it does surprise me a little bit. But of course, you don't have to come in when the tank's all the way down to 0. You can get out of whatever fight you find yourself in and elect to take it just a couple of laps or so different to those around. You'll be stationary for less time, obviously, if you're pushing less fuel through the car, as Tom Mayle comes under pressure now from Romano. So Romano, I think, and Mayle as well, to be fair, will probably thinking about making their stops at the conclusion of this lap. Hence the reason Romano seems to be a little bit more agitated behind the wheel than we've seen over the last couple of laps. So we'll keep our eye on that one, Chaz. But again, as we've just seen with Weston, you can get a penalty if you're a bit too spicy on pit entry. So these are tense times for our drivers.
Yeah, indeed. We've not seen much of Connor Hatfield this race, thankfully, with that number on the side of it. Now, he knows I'm joking at this point. I was just saying before, we haven't seen much of Jakub Krafek either on his debut in the series, but he's been quite quiet and under the radar. Same with Ben Chalcraft as well. Ben's been quiet all season, in fairness to him. He's only 1 point off Austin Farr in the championship and 1 point ahead of Ale Torres as well. So he's definitely got something to fight for, as Ben. It's great to see him taking part in all of the races as well. Not sure if you can see that as well, Paul. I think if we go on board, it's unfortunately cut out shot, but if you look at the driver closely as he makes his way around, he's got the reverse design of a very famous Formula 1 driver on his lid. Ben took part in my Formula 1 World Championship in the previous season, and he was driving for Jordan in effectively what would have been Damon Hill's car. So what he did was use a Damon Hill lid, but he reversed it so it's white with the blue little strikes on it rather than blue with white. It looks really cool.
And you know, for my childhood, that was always going to be my helmet until I realised I don't live in London. I have no association with the London Rowing Club, and it's actually everybody will just say, "Oh, it's Damon Hill." So yeah, that was always my colour choice. But I've now reverted to I don't know what my helmet would look like. One day, sir. One day, I aspire to own a helmet and talk of the days I've not been on the racetrack.
Yeah, me too. And to be fair, when I first started, getting any gigs in motorsport whatsoever, I thought, I'm going to buy an RI, other helmets are available, and I'm going to get it properly painted as well. I even spoke to people about getting it done, nearly pulled the plug on it, but it's a lot of money. And considering that
someone who doesn't race a car.
Exactly, yeah. But, for what we do as commentators, every so often it'd be cool to think, if I just take my helmet with me, if we end up getting an offer just to be out in a car, or just, like you had, you jammy sod going around Bathurst in a TCR car. Like, imagine how much of a don you would have felt if you'd have pulled your own fully painted lid out of a bag. Like, I was ready for this moment. But
just imagine, I've got my massively expensive lid and my one size fits someone overalls over the top of my clothes, sweating heavily, going, "Yeah, look at me, I'm boss." And it's like, you're fooling no one, son. Fooling no one.
Oh, Pearson gets around Flamion with big commitment on the way into the pit lane. Oh, nicely done, Martin. That looked like he nailed that. The bonnet just lifted up to show that he'd lifted off the brakes there at the perfect moment to get it in there. Fair play to him. But yeah, coming back to the helmet discussion, I hope to have, if ever having a painted lid, similar to Hakkinen colours, with the dark blue circle on the top, white with the sort of middle of it is like blue stripes around the middle. But, obviously a different pattern, so it's not just a copy of Mika's lid, but his is one of the absolute classics. A very simple design that he still wears today as well. Whenever he competes in anything or drives any car, he has a very simplified version of it on his helmets now. He did a video with Nico Rosberg a few years ago, and he let Nico drive his experimental P1 around the hills of Monaco, and he gets this helmet out and pretends to Nico that he's scared of Nico's driving, so he's going to wear a lid even when Nico's at the wheel. And it's got the same design on it, and I love that. I love that drivers carry that identity with them. There's too many of them these days that they've all got the same shape, copy and pasted 87 times all over them, and there's no possible way, of recognising them as Flamion is facing the wrong way in pit lane exit.
And there you go, practice your pit entry and your pit exit. Let's have a look there with Chris Flamion now, so be careful of the grass. Oh, we just catch the grass, around we go. I think Chris avoided contact with the barriers, which is not the easiest thing to do. Pit lane is very tight indeed, so no harm, no foul. Let's have a look from Alex King's perspective. There we go, dip the wheel on the grass. The car's unsettled, and goodness me, that would have been heart in mouth for Chris Flamion.
And for Alex King as well, I tell you, coming out of the pit lane needing new overalls is not usually the way it goes, to be honest, is it? That's pretty ropey stuff there, but good to see that at the end of the day, Flamion didn't make contact with the wall. That is the key thing there. So easy to hit any bit of the real estate around that part of the track. Just looking at the pit stops then on the left-hand side of the screen, you can see that pretty much everybody is pitted except for the top three in the GR86s. Chevalier, Campbell and Chauffeur are still yet to pit. The GR86 is going much longer than the MX-5s by the look of it. All of our Jettas have pitted so far, and Sam Van Olst, he was in early, wasn't he, Paul? And he's made that work. 3.3 seconds now ahead of Jake Cranstone, and that's going to do him wonders in the championship, because he's got a few drivers that only have 1 or 2 points over him, ahead of him.
That was super smart from Sam Van Olst. Came in a bit earlier, just as he saw the BMWs rapidly approaching from behind, so he's had none of the traffic shenanigans. He's been on pit lane when that happened, and it's worked out really, really well for Sam Van Olst at this moment in time. 3 and a bit seconds is night and day in most racetracks. It probably won't take that long for the likes of Jake Cranstone behind to start closing back up again, but for Sam now, the aim of the game is to be pinpoint precise, nail the apexes, carry the speed through the corners, get the launch all the way down the back straights, just frankly make not even a sniff of a mistake, and if he can do that one, that will give him a little bit of wiggle room. But Chaz, again, let's talk the semi-boring topic of fuel economy, which is ironic because we're in a VW Jetta that is basically just fuel economy. Well, Sam is furrowing his own path up front. That's going to cost him fuel mileage in that car.
Yeah, definitely. It really is. He's going to be pushing into some of the thickest air on the circuit, isn't he? Is Sam. He's not even got another class in front of him on track either. If we go on board with him, you'll see. It seems like he's just racing around this place at night. It's like he's at a kart circuit, isn't it, really, with all the lights around. It's just, you know, he's probably got a Chinese in the back or something just to deliver and lob at someone's doorway. It's always when you jump on board with it, you hear the noise combined with that iconic blue and red Volkswagen dashboard. I absolutely love it. It just needs a really, like, tacky Kenwood radio in the middle of it, doesn't it, with, like, a USB input hanging out. Just needs a bit of that. Oh, and just the air freshener from his local car wash that's shaped like an Aston Martin, even though they've never had an Aston Martin in their life.
Yep, I see anybody born after 1999 has no idea what
No.
no references. The Chaz are right. A detachable head unit on your car and
Oh,
a CD
yeah.
couch under the seat with 110 discs in it
Yeah.
is absolutely peak my youth.
there's-
That's the way to do it.
There's a great friend of mine, Jack Galley, bless him, absolutely hilarious gentleman. He had a Volkswagen Bora for a long time, a similar scenario as to having a Jetta, you know, that iconic blue and red dash. He had the premium as well with the leather seats in it. It was fantastic.
Nice.
But he was always taking the mick out of the fact that it was really a takeaway delivery car. There was one night he ordered a takeaway. We were on a night out actually in his hometown. We were about 2 miles from where he lived at the other end of town. And we got to the point where he ordered a takeaway from his local takeaway. We walked in there and then asked the delivery driver if we could get it delivered and he could just give us a lift home.
That's a legendary idea.
You know what? He did it as well, and we were in a Bora, and it was one of the funniest things ever. But yeah, Jack has also come up with fantastic things like Van Ulster's dropped down here. Sorry.
And does seem to be struggling a little bit. Maybe that's just getting the car, winding the car back up to speed.
Does that Chinese weigh that much? Oh, he's had a slowdown penalty through the bus stop. Oh, he's thrown away that advantage, Paul. He's thrown it away.
That's bad. That's bad news for Sam Van because he's burnt all the fuel off but got none of the benefit for it at all. So Sam is in a really, I don't want to say he's in a bad position, but he's definitely on the back foot a little bit.
Yeah, that idea of the strategy, that earlier pit stop, all the gap that he'd gained before now has been wiped off. And like you say, at the expense of extra fuel. So he's actually on the back foot when it comes to the bigger picture here. It's great that he's still in the pack. Hopefully for him, he can still save a bit of fuel now that he is in said pack. We'll have to wait and see, though. The other thing that I'm just going to come back to the fact that my friend Jack once said he had temporary insurance on said Bora when he first got it, just for a few days while he sorted it all out. And we were on our way back from an airfield, and he remembered that it was about half an hour from expiring in the car, and he pulled the car over very quickly, and we asked what he was doing, and he said, "My insurance lights come on." Which I think is potentially one of the funniest things I've ever heard anyone say in a car. But bless him, funny bloke. But yeah, the takeaway story in Winsford was an absolutely heroic bit of an idea, wasn't it? Really,
I like that.
Just
I like that.
turn up. He
I'm
ordered
just
it for
feeling
delivery, then turned up and said, "Can you drive us home?" Epic.
I genuinely, I'm having a piece of that. I really like that idea. That's just, I instantaneously look out whoever's going out with me on a night out next time, because we're going to play that game and we're going to play with gusto. Speaking of gusto, Martin Pearson is having a semi-boring time of things, up in 5th position, isn't he? Look at the gap that he's got to the pack ahead. But Chaz, look at this. Slipstream, hello, how are you? I'll get my hook into you. And Martin is off throttle before we even get to the line.
But look at the BM round it and all, as if it's standing still. It feels like in that MX-5, like you're doing 235 miles an hour, but all at the same time you've got the BMW going past you like you're in reverse. It's just such a moral killer, isn't it? Or morale killer, I should say. Then again, it might kill your morals by the time you get to turn 1 if you want to send it hard enough. But yeah, that was...
If you drive a BMW.
Well, yeah, I've got one, so I can say what I like. I said that actually during the stream last night. There was a particular driver in a BMW that seemed to be willing to crash into just about every other driver to stop them overtaking him. And at the end of the day, I just shouted that it was all typical BMW drivers. I had to justify that I've got one, and that's why I'm allowed to say it. But yeah, at the same time, it was met with half laughter and half ooh. Still, Chevalier and Gruber are trying to make a... I'm not going to do maths. A GR 172. I can do better than that, sorry. Richard Cawthorne's into the pits.
We know that. Oh, he's out. He's jumped back in. He's jumped back into the pits. That could affect his championship. Yeah, he hasn't even jumped back into the pit. Or has he? Richard, hello? No, I think he's out. I think Cortheroy is properly out of the race. That's devastating. If he would have finished the race, he could have potentially held on to his second place. Either that or he's done the maths and he realises that, or he's gambling here and he's thinking, nah, Tom's driving like a lunatic. He's not going to make the end of the race. But to be fair, Tom's doing a great job at the pace. You know, he did a 156.8 last time round. Sorry, 157.4, 156.8 for Giovanni Romano behind him. So that shows you that Romano's car, after his first pit stop anyway, is not damaged now, is it? He's doing all right here.
Doing all right, but Tom Mayle, that is a really, really good lick of pace. What's impressed me with Tom, / concerned me slightly for the rest of his race, he is absolutely unafraid to light a fire under the back marker traffic, doesn't wait for the opportunity, forces the opportunity through some precise and aggressive driving. Damn impressive to see, massively impressive to watch on the broadcast, but does come with additional risk as the driver.
Yeah.
So Tom Mayle, he's definitely he's putting his finger near the flame a few times for my taste, which I love to see it, but eventually if you keep poking fire, you're going to catch a light. And that's the problem for Tom Mayle.
He's the kid in the science lesson that keeps putting his finger through the Bunsen burner, and he's just saying, look what I can do. And eventually it's just going to go up in flames and there's going to be an issue. Seems like we like fire-based puns actually on that one. Still, these lot, I mean...
Lit.
Well, I was gonna.
Oh, thank you very much.
Oh, mate.
I'm here all week.
Well, without where there's smoke, there's fire and all that. There'd definitely be smoke if these were running proper diesel engines in the Jettas. But look at them all still together. It's like it's lap one. It's like they've just come off across the start-finish line 2x2 into the first corner about nearly an hour ago, isn't it? This is brilliant. Oh, change. Romano leads Mayle.
Oh, now that's interesting because
I bet it's a slowdown.
I bet it is as well because he had a quite comfortable gap at this time. So that pesky rear view mirror just in the way. There is Tom Mayle up on high. Either that's a slowdown or that's a strategic let's slot back in and see what happens manoeuvre.
I would bet that it was down to... Let's just see if we can actually get an idea of it here. Yeah, we're going to go back in time a little bit here. This has worked out well. Oh, yeah. Yeah, you'll get one for that. And that.
Oh, so, hello.
Yeah.
That's not even curb turfing, is it? That's just bye-bye.
You may as well have gone in the pit lane. That's, yeah. Track limits what? Alex King has just had a bit of a dramatic bus stop chicane as well. And these MX-5s have been right little wasps again, haven't they? Fantastically entertaining, buzzing around your head. Miles Owen's been nice and respectful there, actually. Backed out from hitting Alex really hard. He's just going to creep up to him now that they're in a straight line. Then maybe give him the push. Oh, my God, look at this. I remind you, we're 50 minutes into a race here. And the top 5 in MX-5s are separated by 0.4 of a second.
This is brilliant. But look, that was very, very telling, wasn't it? Martin Pearson doesn't even want to get into the bump drafting game. By the way, well done, Martin. I despise bump drafting. He doesn't even want to get involved. He's just throttle off. I don't want to be touching these cars. I don't want to be in their wheelhouse at all, is what Martin Pearson's thinking. He's just happy to follow and to watch and to wait. And this could be a really, really, for me, out of everybody in this little squabbling group, Martin Pearson seems like he's got the head on the shoulders a little bit better than those around, because he knows something's going to happen. 50 minutes to go, man. It's going to happen. And Pearson wants the cleanest and most pristine, well put together car to try and take advantage when that time comes. Heads up driving. I'm liking this one from Martin. Very clever.
Yeah, this is officially now the halfway point of the race that we're just getting to here with 50 minutes left to go. And right now, the MX-5s are all glued to each other still. At the same time, though, Paul, as well, I'm not sure if it's still the same as it used to be. There's a little wobble there for Miles Owens. But on iRacing, a lot of the time, the fuel calculations are not always done by revs. They're actually done based on the throttle position. So if you do dip the clutch as well, it doesn't make a massive difference, but you are saving a lot of fuel just by simply lifting. And Martin was lifting a hell of a lot into each of those corners there. Rather than braking early and sticking really close to the car in front, he was lifting very early and then gradually applying the brakes. So he's going to be saving a hell of a lot of fuel there, and that will be the masterstroke
come the end of this race. He's taken one stint to do it. He's going to take another one. He's probably going to pit around the same time as the other guys as well in the second stint, just to make sure he's still with them and still has the slipstream. But then he could just have an ultimately short pit stop come the end and just play the game from there and just kick its head until the flag.
Yeah, and that's got to be the tactic, hasn't it? You don't want to stop off kilter with everybody else because you lose that slipstream, you lose that further advantage. It's all about minimising the amount of fuel that needs to go in the car at the end of the race. We're looking at Georg Gruber. He was almost as one with the back of our race leader a few moments ago. Now he's dropped back a little bit as Gruber. This is the Toyota GR86 class cars, of course. We're looking on board from that vehicle to our Ryan Chevalier race leader in the bright yellow car. Bright yellow, by the way, is helpful for Chaz and I because, look, it is dark here at Daytona. So bright cars are our friend in these scenarios. But doesn't it look great?
It does look fantastic. And like I say again, you know, I may be very biased, but iRacing's improvement and its lighting and its visuals over the last sort of, especially the last year or so, has just been epic. They've done a massive job considering how old the engine that this game runs on is as well. You know, it's an engine from 2008 for crying out loud, and they've fine-tuned it and done so much to bring it up to modern standard. And I always say that iRacing looks the most natural out of all the sims as well. It's you know, it may not be the prettiest of them all, but it's the most natural looking in my eyes. You can definitely tell when it's iRacing because they've still got that annoying sort of pre-rendered headlight sort of PNG around them where it glows the exact same for every car. But you know what? Aside from that, I think it's a very, very good-looking sim, and it's convincing to watch, isn't it? For people that do watch, you know, from a perspective of, oh, I just want to watch some racing, it's very often the one where people ask questions, you know, wow, is this a game? I mean, no, it's a sim, but, you know, the main question is, this isn't real, is it? You know, this is virtual. Austin Farr doesn't make any friends.
Good Lord almighty, that was... I had a nip the old sphincter a minute there for Austin Farr's behalf. That was somewhat challenging, it has to be said, but boy done good, he's made it.
50p, 20p times here at Daytona in the FTR Events Production Car Challenge. Plus, you got myself, Chaz Draycott, and the wonderful Paul Jeffrey in the commentary box for the finale of this season. Plenty of championships still to be decided. Just to go back to the GR86s as well, Paul, can we just mention that Georg Gruber, let's not forget, was involved in that massive accident earlier on in the race. He pitted on lap 10, so he's got a 9-lap difference to the other cars in class, but that could actually work out for him in the end, because if they've got to do 3 stints, 1 short one and 2 full ones, he could have potentially done enough for his short stint in that opening 10 laps and now just fully fuel it till the end. So he may not necessarily lose out all that much if he keeps the pace up.
Yeah, he's made life hard for himself by being involved in that incident, absolutely for sure. But you're right, I think this could sort of all converge at the end of the race and keep that car very much in the conversation. He's definitely got the pace, you can see that one, by virtue of the fact he's painted to the back of Ryan Chevalier's machine in front. So we know he's quick, but the big question is, did the first stint, before it all went very wrong indeed, was it long enough to get that fuel number in and around the right window? Justin Michaela, by the way, let's remember Justin Michaela, if memory serves me correctly, didn't set a time in qualifying. It started back of pack, and is now all the way up there in second position. So that's been a really low profile, under the radar, but deeply effective race from Justin so far. And he's still trying his best to harry Matt Acton into some kind of error. But Matt has been just rock solid in this one so far.
Yeah, it's been brilliant, hasn't it? We've had 2 wins this season for Martin Pearson in the MX-5s, 1 for Dan Pepples, who unfortunately got his nights mixed up with this one, I'm afraid to say. But thank you very much for the honesty though, Dan. Appreciate it, and thank you very much for joining us here on Chaz Draycott Media tonight. But yeah, I mean, Chris Flamion, he's second in the championship by 14 points. No wins to his name. Same with Matt Acton as well. 30 points in the championship for Matt. He's not been here for every race, in fairness to him. But every race that he's been in, you know, he's been a competitor. So I'm excited to see if he can take a victory here and whether we end up with 3 different race winners in class. What about this, though, Paul? Are we going to get more than 1 winner all season in the BMWs? Because it seems like Tom Mayle is in the best position that we've seen anybody all season right now, maybe other than Austin at Navarra at the start of the season. Well, I think Tom's in the best seat now to dethrone Giovanni for just 1 more race, but
knowing how much of a perfectionist the Canadian is, he's going to want to win every race, isn't he?
Oh, well, any shadow of a doubt. Absolutely, Giovanni Romano wants the full clean sweep of this one. We're riding on board with Tom Mayle. He's not going to be interested at all in finding a way past at this moment in time. Let's listen in fight as we come down into T1 at the Breaking Stone.
You know what? Giovanni was lifting as well. Giovanni lifted it. Yeah. He lifted at the exact same moment as Tom Mayle, so I think somehow, obviously Giovanni's not in the slipstream of another car, but he's still trying his best to save fuel when it comes to the braking zones for all of these corners. So he's still doing his bit here. He's not at ultimate pace, but we know that Tom is quick enough to stick with Giovanni at this stage, but I wonder how much of that is down to the early lifting here from the Canadian. This is certainly an interesting one, but that's why these races are great, aren't they, Paul? They keep us speculating for about an hour and a half, and then we finally know what's happening at the end.
Yeah, completely, absolutely, and that's the thing, both of these drivers are playing the long game. And the thing is, and this is the rare situation that Romano and Mayle find themselves in, they've got about 6 seconds to Austin far behind. They can afford to play these games, they can afford to both work on their fuel save, because that 6 seconds at some point will be obliterated and are completely and utterly useless to you.
Yeah.
It's more important, it's not where you are on the track, it's how much fuel you can use. It's the thing they're racing against that we can't see. So it makes it hard to understand, it makes it hard to articulate to the audience at home. They're not racing each other, they're racing the fuel tank. A little bit like me, basically, every single week close to payday. They're just trying to be very, very cautious on how much fuel they burn. And they can do that one because this man, Austin Farr, is, to quote The Who, far, far away at this moment in time.
Yeah, absolutely. He's certainly not a concern for them at this stage, I don't think. But he'll be pleased to have had a bit of a drama-free run for the last few laps. Here's Justin Michaela, and just behind is Alex King doing about Mach 3 in MX5 terms. But look, he's already lifted before the start-finish line, like we said before. These MX-5s are all playing the long game here because, again, it's a car that provides humongous amounts of slipstream. I was loving driving this thing on Tuesday night just last week. I actually took part in an event that I was hosting. Bless the other drivers. They said that, if there's no broadcast on the night, as long as I race under an alias or whatever, so I can talk about myself on stream later, they allowed me to race with them on the night as well, which was fantastic fun. One of the races we did was in the MX-5s, and my God, it's a hilarious car to drive. I've raced it a lot before, but it was just that reminder of how epic a race car this is. There's a car there somewhere. Is it Austin Farr? Or is it Connor Hatfield? It's Austin Farr. He loves sending it up the inside there, doesn't he?
He does indeed, but he's vulnerable. Be careful, sunshine. Don't be trading paints. That's what we do outside of the sim, not during it. And I think Austin Farr just about got away. But while we're watching Austin scythe his way like a hot knife through butter of traffic, I just want to jump back to the MX-5s for a moment. Love the car, love the weight races, love everything, but my God, that steering wheel's ugly with the big Mazda on it. That spoils it for me for driving the car with a visible steering wheel. I do wish they'd upgrade that, I really do.
What, the big round wheel, or just the fact it's got Mazda written on it?
Just Mazda plastered all over
Mazda
it, like
speed.
you're buying like a knockoff wheel from some kind of like third-party reseller overseas. It's just, me no like. That's the kind of thing that you don't put on your rig. You want one-to-one accuracy, but you dodge that because it just cheapens everything.
I think a friend of mine had a modified Integra years ago, and I think is it Keys Racing or something? They had steering wheels where there was text all the way around it. In Japanese, and it looked quite cool to an extent, but it was massively distracting. And obviously, in time, when you've got white writing on a steering wheel, some of it's going to go an horrible colour, and it just, I never understand it. It's like people who have steering wheel covers on their wheels. Charlotte and I were on the motorway on the way back home tonight from up in Newcastle, and there was someone with a white fluffy one on their wheel. Like, what are you doing?
Please tell me that was a 1957 Cadillac Eldorado in purple.
Not that you're going to be specific about it. I think it was...
That's the only time the fluffy steering wheel cover is okay.
I think it was actually typically just a standard Fiat 500.
Oh, dear. As long as they've not got the butterfly eyelids, then it's okay.
Oh.
That's another thing. They should be banned and burnt.
Yeah,
Don't
you're
put
absolutely
hype on
right.
your car. Do not. You deserve it to be stolen.
Yeah. Oh, we're going out in a blaze of glory, aren't we? Flipping heck. But yeah.
Last race of the season, it's party time, isn't it?
It's-
We're waiting for the action to kick off, and it's getting a bit warmer under the collar with these guys, isn't it?
There's a few flies on the front of the Jetta. Patrick Dopart's got no flies on him, though. He's certainly a rapid guy. Listen to the lift. Oh, my God. And, oh, even with the lift, he's gone straight on. Sam Van Holst goes through into the lead. Cranstone next up. And then Jeremy Agard behind Eric Maninveld in there. Henry Morse has been quite quiet for this one, hasn't he? Consider, I mean, it's a great pun about the name in there somewhere, surely. But Henry, he's not going to be sending any dots and dashes at the minute. He's just sitting there at the back of the pack. We've seen him actually pull off some fantastic strategies before in this class. He knows this car very well. He's British boring car champion as well, for God's sake. He knows what to do in this Jetta very, very well. And I think he's planning something here, Paul, by sitting behind these guys for this long.
Well, this is the big thing, isn't it? All, or pretty much all of these drivers in the VW Jetta class, as you mentioned before, you know way better than I, have raced against each other together in these cars on this platform, literally hundreds, if not thousands of times. So they absolutely know what the right strategy is. They know what the textbook says you should do. And I dare say they've probably been in any given scenario you could wish for multiple times. So make no mistake, every single maneuver that you see in these VW Jettas is calculated and designed with the big picture in goal. There's no reactive driving here. There's no fly by the seat of the pants and see what happens. This is all to the absolute minutiae calculated from each and every one. And they're all carrying their own little strategy, which we'll probably see the results of in about 37 minutes and 32 seconds from now.
I have just realised, I mean, well, I realised years ago I was an idiot, but I've just realised that if we look at the bonnet on Henry Morse's car with that Comet branding, I was thinking to myself, I'm sure I've recently seen that. At least they're in the same team, but slightly different livery, it seems. I don't know why I hadn't noticed that before. I mean, it's the fact that the livery's different on two cars, despite being from the same team, which I strongly dislike. However, it's, you know, same logos and everything. I did not realise, boys. I did not realise. Oh, there's a car that we like looking at. My good mate, Ben Chalcraft has actually earned me my first ever sim racing trophy in the past few months. Ben and I were teammates in a GT4 championship, and he carried me and our other teammate, Ed May, massively. And for finishing 5th in the team's championship, the championship has been generous enough to give out trophies all the way down to 5th to every driver in the team. So Ben has earned me a trophy, basically. Georg Gruber into the pits, Paul. We expected this because let's not forget he was in the pits early because of that incident before. He is now back in on what will be lap number 29 for him. So these cars do 19 laps in the GR86s. The others all pitted on lap 19, so it makes sense. So he'll be in on, oh, he's done it again. He's gone deep into his box. He'll be back in on, what would that be? 48. Lap 48 will be the next one for him.
Yeah, this is going to be fascinating now for Georg Gruber to see just how much penalty he's going to have to pay over the course of the race for the incident earlier on. Obviously, it came in, as you say, for, if you want to make a note, if you're watching at home, he came in from second position on lap number 33. So we'll have a half a high. Half a high? Wow, let's say that one. We use real words. Half of an eye. There we go. On his progress as Chris Chauffeur has both eyes very firmly boring into the back of the car ahead.
Oh.
Chauffeur in some strife in qualifying and almost into the rear of that driver. So Chris Chauffeur's day's not going quite as easily as he would perhaps have expected maybe coming into this one.
There's a BMW down his inside now as well. Is it Austin Farr? Yes, it is.
Hey.
It's always Austin Farr. Whenever we go on board with anybody, I swear there's like 6 of him out there on the circuit. Just always seems to be around other traffic, does Austin. But the flying donut machine of Evan Campbell has actually got considerably further away from Chris Chauffeur now. 1.15 seconds in this case. And that will break the slipstream in these GR86s, you know. He won't get any slipstream from there. So, this could be a turning point. So could this. Sam Van Holst has not saved enough fuel to go into the pits when the other drivers did. He's in on the Jetta's 29th lap of the race as well. They were last in on laps 15 and 16. He's already building up the revs. That's wasting fuel, son.
And this is the problem. If you're the one that's the lead in the pack for so long, you're the one that's breaking the hole in the air, and it sounds ridiculous. If you're watching this one and you're not well versed in the world of motor racing, first and foremost, hello and welcome. It sounds ridiculous that you can be pushing through the air and using more fuel than those in the slipstream. But in real life, it's been like that for a long time, and in sim, it's exactly the same. The penalisation of fuel usage for being the lead car is just obscene on a track like this one. So, yeah, difficult time for Sam Vanol, so that's made his afternoon a bit more challenging.
Yeah, indeed. It was either that he had the throttle pressed down ready to get going, or it was a diesel runaway in the pit lane, which would not be something that I'd put past iRacing to simulate. Austin Farr has decided he's fed up of traffic. He's going to try and find some in the pit lane. He now comes in. Giovanni Romano continues to lead this race, though. He's opened up a gap of 1.2 seconds up over Tom Mayle. That's going to feel like an absolute age compared to what he's had before. I think he's going to be feeling that he's a bit lonely, to be honest with you, because he's always had cars around him, hasn't he, as Giovanni, and he's back into his usual position of leading the race. Cannot hear you, Paul.
You know, try not to talk on pause, folks. That's the name of the game. But yeah, you're absolutely right. Oh, not pause, mute even. Get my mistakes wrong. But Giovanni Romano, this is a nightmare for the drivers. He's so used to being at the front of the pack. He's so used to being the one that's carving his way through the field as a race leader. Don't give him that comfort blanket. Put him under pressure. That's the only way to change the narrative, Chaz, for this one, isn't it? Put him under pressure is the aim of the game for Giovanni Romano.
Yeah, definitely. He's just got to do everything he can from lap to lap. You've just got to see how each lap goes. There's no point trying to play the bigger picture if you're Giovanni, because at the end of the day, he's got the championship pretty much wrapped up. He's got the job done in the first 3 races of the season, and I feel that now he's going to be he's possibly in the calmest position out of anyone on the circuit, isn't he? Knowing that he's not going to have a huge challenge in the points compared to anybody else.
Yeah, easy streets now, isn't it? Just bring the car home, get the results, and yippee-ki-yay, ho-ho-ho. Giovanni Romano will be the champion. But that's a little bit further down the road. We'll worry about that one for Giovanni because there's plenty of racing still to go. 32 minutes, Chaz, left on the clock. It's gone. As I mentioned to you off camera, I've had one of those days today where everything's gone down the toilet. So I came into this one with suboptimal levels of mental enthusiasm. But it's been a great race at this point, and it's really it's been some very impressive racing, I must say.
Yeah, and the thing is as well, I mean, we've reminded people in some of these races before in this championship that a great race isn't always one that's just full of consistent and constant overtakes and, you know, crazy controversy and drama. Sometimes the better races are the ones like we see in the MX-5s here, where they're all going to now come down pit lane. Alex King is potentially going to carry on here. Look at that, he's saved fuel now. So while everybody else comes down the pit lane in flying formation, he is going to continue on. Oh, some of these guys I think got done for speed in there.
Yep, I agree.
Justin Michaela was going considerably faster than some of the other guys. And he's had to reverse into his pit box as well. Oh, some of them have. Oh, boys, it's an absolute mess in the pit lane with the MX-5s. Oh, Christ. Pearson's taking tyres as well, which is interesting. That is very...
against the tree then in the 301, but the tyres, indeed.
Yeah, it's leaking. But, yeah, he's taking fresh rubber here to see what he can do with it. Connor Hatfield is a driver we've not seen much of in this race. He's going to be making his way back out the pit lane. Romano and Mayle come in. Oh, it's so scary watching people enter the pit lane. Jeremy Agard is in, and so too is Eric Manintveld as well, actually, in the orange Masters of Torque machine and the pink one, the Masters of Blobby machine. That means that Jake Cranstone continues on. Funnily enough, the Jettas are that close to the MX-5s. Now that the MX, that's for position, that's for overall race position there, Paul. They're on the same lap, the Jettas and the MX-5s, and the GR86s still. They are all on their 32nd lap.
This is beautiful stuff. I mean, just to give the audience at home an idea, fastest last lap around, a 2:09 for Chevalier in the GR86, a 2:11 for Alex King in the MX-5, and a 2:11 for Jake Cranstone in the VW Jetta. So, quite literally, these cars are on point with each other. Massively different cars, speed at different parts of the racetrack, but it all comes together quite nicely, as there is the Ainsley Harriet living BMW of Tom Mayle coming out of pit lane. And he's going to keep hold
Tom.
of the lead. Oh, that's a very spicy decision. Well played, son. A little bit leery, a little bit brave, but well played.
Hot and spicy meat, as Ainsley Harriet would describe that. That was very, very naughty. But 6 seconds less in the pit lane than Giovanni Romano. He's not let that one simmer, has he?
Absolutely. No, he's definitely out of the frying pan and into the fire, it seems to be said, at the front of the field. But Giovanni Romano, now get ready. Now it's time to put your big boy trousers on.
Gas Mark 8.
Gas Mark 8. That's yeah, exactly, slightly toasted. Let's see if Giovanni Romano can have a dig around and find some lap time, because I think he's under a bit of pressure here, Chaz.
You know what, Paul? I'm going to admit something live on air now.
Oh no, please don't.
And it's not the first bit, but I am a 32-year-old gentleman at present. I was 30 years old when I realised that the numbers on the little dial on your toaster were not just the level of toastiness, that's actually how many minutes it's on for.
Oh, good Lord, sir. Oh, good Lord.
Oh, good Lord, Henry Morse. Sorry, he's done what I don't want him to do. And Martin Pearson's done the same. I don't agree with that at the end of the race, not let alone with half an hour left. Come on, boys.
Just imagine being in that MX-5 and you just glance to your left-hand side where you know for a fact nothing's going to be there, and there's a great big VW Jetta steaming up your inside. That would focus the attention somewhat as Justin Michaela almost takes the rear of the 14. Now look at this one. The camera is just look at the size difference.
It's got cake on it, that Jetta. It's got absolute cake. It looks like it's floating. He's that close to it. It's not rendered the shadow properly. You can see all the suspension geometry and everything underneath it. Flipping out. Really shows you iRacing's 2008 scanning capabilities. But yeah, Justin Michaela, leading the MX-5 class, doesn't need that tower block delivery takeaway team in front of him right now. He is hoping to not be smelling the diesel. He's hoping to smell the clean air and have the rest of the MX-5s the only things around him. Looking at pit stops then, let's figure this out, shall we, Paul? Let's try and figure this one. Henry Morse, we tried to mention earlier, didn't we, that Henry was potentially doing something with a strategy. He is the only Jetta now that has done less than 2 stops. Maninveld's done 3, so I wonder if he's coming to the pits for a penalty or something. The top 4 in the GR86s are yet to pit again. The MX-5s I don't think will pit again now. After all of their dramas earlier, I think they are done for the night when it comes to pit lane action. But Henry Morse, it's like having the safety car at full speed, isn't it, with these MX-5s? It's fantastic, isn't it?
This is really, really scary stuff, though, if you're Henry Morse, because you really, really, really don't want to be having a squabble. He'd be great for the slipstream, though, given the opportunity, just like Martin Pearson. Again, we talked about Martin, didn't we? He was in 5th position last time we checked in, not bump drafting, not doing silly things, not getting overexcited, and look how that's paid off. 2nd in class and gunning for the race lead. Is going to be very keen to come off the fuel as Henry Morse jumps down pit lane. But Martin Pearson, I think, honestly, and it's not going to win any awards for the style or the excitement or the drama, I think Martin Pearson is driving an absolutely excellent one.
Alex King showing that you can definitely drift the MX-5 here on iRacing, and much like the old days of iRacing, you can actually save a car from a slide now. You don't have what we call the death wiggle. Martin Pearson gets through, takes the place. Let's go back on board and see that from the nose cam. Alex King's fantastic drift here at turn 1. Ooh, sunshine, that's lovely stuff. One more. I love it. I absolutely love it. Not Alex King, I do apologise, Justin Michaela. Oh, that's brilliant. Fair play to him. It may not be the loudest or most exciting drift you've ever seen, but in a race scenario around a corner like that, when you're racing for the lead, that's pretty marvellous, isn't it?
Yeah, that was beautiful stuff from Justin there. Good car control as well. Didn't lose too much time, which is the main thing. Put plenty of tyre temperature spike into the boots, but I'm sure he'll be A-OK with 25 minutes left on the clock as Evan Campbell, again, talking to drivers that have impressed me so far this race, Evan most definitely has impressed me. Up in second position in the number 71, the American driver doing a great job at this moment in time. He's got a very unfortunate 10-second gap between himself and Ryan Chevalier, so Ryan pretty much has this one in the bag, I think, if things, there we go, right on cue. Thank you, Chaz. Chevalier, again, not shown lightning pace, not done anything Larry and excitable. He's just delivered lap time after lap time, stayed out of trouble, and the reward is 10 seconds. And Chaz, 10 seconds at Daytona, 25 minutes on the clock, and probably no more stops. I reckon this is Ryan's to win.
Yeah, definitely. And he did his best lap of the race last time round as well, a 2:08.9. There's only a few drivers that have gone quicker than that in the class all race. So Chevalier really showing them where the pace is at the moment. The MX-5s are having a ding-dong. Suddenly Miles Owens has appeared once again and said, thanks boys, I'll take that. Round the outside he goes. Can he slot into the lead? Not yet. Look who's at the back of this though, Paul. Matt Acton, who was leading the race so much earlier. He says, hey, I've got FOMO here, let me through. Let me through. That's my lead to have. Round the outside he goes. Michaela's going to try and run a little bit wide. Miles Owens and Martin Pearson so close to contact. Still side by side on the exit. 3 wide for the lead, though. They need to be careful through the left. Oh, Justin Michaela has to back out of it slightly. We are over an hour through this race. Ainsley Harriot's popped up for a quick dinner down the inside as well. This is incredible. Look how close Romano is now to the back of, what's his name? Tom Mayle. It's not actually Ainsley Harriot, is it? But wow, these MX-5s, after over an hour and 15 minutes of racing, Paul, they are still battling over the lead with the top 5 separated by a second and a half.
Absolutely adore this one, and frankly, if it wasn't like this in MX-5s, I would be offended, because these cars, this is how we go racing in the Mazda MX-5, or the Miata, for our American friends watching. Beautiful, beautiful race car. Alex King doing a beautiful, beautiful job as well, up there in 4th position. He's got, of course, as we've just mentioned, he's got Matt Acton behind, trying to buy into this one as well. But look how much work you've got to do behind the wheel. You might not be fast, and they most definitely sound irritating as it comes. But goodness me, you've got to be on your money.
Oh, you really do. They are a car that make you think, you know. And like I said, I was driving this car just last week and racing against some of the guys that I've commentated on for so long. And I don't know how you do it. There's Austin Farr again. Oh, it's like being on the M6 on the way home on a Sunday night after a race meeting. But yeah, this car, I mean, it's difficult. It's difficult these days to get the most out of it because it wants to spin everywhere. These guys have their own open setups as well, so they will have the car on the absolute edge around this circuit in most places. So it's great to see them really, really pushing it. I just wanted to readdress the situation in the GR86s. Austin Tucker, despite that massive accident earlier, is still racing. He's not disappeared here. He leads the championship by 7 points over Georg Gruber. Theoretically, he's only 2 places behind him. Georg is in 4th position in class right now. Ryan Chevalier, though, is going to be on for 25 points here for winning this race if he does so. And that will put him, well, it'll put him on 55. He's 20 behind Austin. I don't think Austin will only get 5 points for that. So as long as he finishes, he should be champion. Should be.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, Chaz Draycott has done mathematical calculations and made a championship prediction live on air. That's brave. Very brave indeed. Not as brave as Matt Acton, though, because I think Matt is absolutely and categorically bored stiff of playing the game and now just wants to charge through the field and retake that lead. It's the proverbial gloves off time, methinks, in the number 10. And I reckon this one's going to get very, very intense. Very, very quickly indeed.
It really will. We'll go back to this rabble. Looks like nothing's going on, but Sam Van Olst is just trying to cling on to whatever tyre life he's got left in his Jettas. Ben Chalcraft has just made his way past these boys, and yet again, the Jettas are the life of the party. It's like they've just sent them all out and said, yeah, go on, we've got a fleet of these things left. Just lob them about a racetrack. It's great to see that 16 years after iRacing's inception, this car is still being used widely and is still considered one of the most fun and entertaining machines on the service. We have another British Boring Car Championship coming up later in the year as well for those who enjoy the Jetta, so make sure you keep an eye out for that on Chaz Draycott Media. We will be doing that. Paul should be alongside me in the box for that one with his touring car knowledge, and all we'll do, to be honest, is just wax lyrical about the 1990s, but we'll be there for it.
Yes,
we
I'm already signed up for that.
We absolutely will. But I mean, this is Jetta country here. We've got Jake Cranstone leads this, right? Sam Van Olst is 1.2 seconds back in 6th position after an hour and 20 minutes of racing. It's the best thing. It's just one of the best cars on iRacing. Sure, it's diesel. Sure, it's a shed. Sure, it's probably got curry stains on the back seat. Who cares? It's an absolute... Well, there's no back seats, but it's a riot. Absolute riot of a car. And it's funny to look at because it shouldn't be a race car, should it?
But I don't know about you, but I can certainly say every time we do one of these broadcasts, I always think if I had a bit more money, I'd get one of these and go track racing.
Oh, God, yeah. Oh, yeah, I see them all the time. I nearly... You know what? Before I got the BMW... Oh, no. Acton. Matt Acton. No, that front left. That front left is destroyed on Matt Acton's car. What on God's earth?
Oh, please don't.
He's already had the accident there.
Oh, Matt.
Oh, no.
We said he was getting a little bit more lively, didn't we? And unfortunately, liveliness has led to an...
Oh, no. Miles isn't going to turn him. Oh, no.
Like to see that on board from Matt's point of view.
How did that front left break?
I was wondering that as well. He's not hit anything.
I mean, the suspension of the Mazda MX-5 is made of cracker bread, so... This is Justin Michaela. I think he comes up a little bit. He was worrying so much about the cars next to him. Yeah, look. Justin's just...
Well, I think Matt's come down on him.
Yeah, I think they both did a bit of it, didn't they? They definitely both did a bit of it. Justin Michaela sort of washes up, goes a little bit straight, watch the green car, and then Matt definitely comes down expecting to have the run on him. Look, Justin goes straight, Matt comes down, yeah.
Oh, yeah, you can see the black line of the tarmac. He was in the middle of the car, but then in contact, Matt was very much underneath him. Nothing intentional, obviously.
No, not at all.
Silly and nothing to criticise. It's just sometimes when you've got low-powered cars on an oval scenario, we've seen it so many times in NASCAR, haven't we, so many times in endurance racing, nobody's quote-unquote at fault. It's just unfortunately bad times do roll on. As Giovanni Romano fancies a bit of a squabble with Tom Mayle. Look at this one. 2 BMWs, but one of them is invisible because it's all the way up the back of the huge Ash car. That's this is going to be a good one, this. Looking forward to the next 17 and a half minutes.
Yeah, I'm intrigued to see how hard Tom pushes this right to the end of the race, because we've seen that he's not scared of making moves, not scared of sending it up the inside. Should be pretty exciting, this one. They've got... Oh, is that Connor Hatfield having a drama in front of them? No, that is one of the GR86s. That, I believe, is Paul Hendricks having a moment. No relation to Jimmy, I believe. Ryan Chevalier, ooh, late into the pit lane there. And they do have an extra stop in these things. That interests me. That really interests me.
I didn't want to say too much to belie my ignorance in the fuel strategies of iRacing, but I'm surprised that everybody's coming back in again. And goodness gracious me, Chris Sofa nearly collects the back of Ewan Campbell. So Evan Campbell, my mistake. Evan and Chris then coming in almost as one. Who's going to have the fastest?
Oh, he's overshot. Again.
Oh, come on, boys, again.
Look how quick that stop is, though. They barely take any fuel on board. Chevalier's already gone. He's like, cheers, boys. Thanks for that. See you later. It's like they just spat some fuel on the bodywork and said, off you go. Brilliant stuff. Pearson still battling for the lead in the MX-5s. Michaela and King just behind as well. Chris Flamion's a little bit out of the picture now. We've got to consider the MX-5 championship as well at some point, because Pearson, 14 points clear. Second place will definitely guarantee him second in the championship victory. But also the fact that Miles Owens, his next competitor, he's 22 points back, and his nearest rival is Chris Flamion, who is, unfortunately for him, 10 seconds off that class lead. Gruber and Chauffeur are having a good old ding-dong now. Evan Campbell's got a bit of clean air ahead. But this is interesting to see now how Gruber has come through here, because we've got 15 minutes left to go, Paul. It's just over 2 minutes a lap here, so what? Every 6 laps would be... Sorry, every 6 laps would be another 2 minutes. These guys... I think Gruber will have to pit again, because I think we figured out he'd have to come in on lap 48. So I don't think that he did enough of a first stint before that accident to necessitate losing out on a pit stop, or at least, you know... Not having to do an additional one, sorry.
Yeah, that's a shame that that's not quite fallen as he would have liked for Gruber. But look at the gap now between Campbell and Chauffeur. Remember, they almost collided with each other on pit entry, so close they were. Now there's a bit of a gap between the two of them. Plus, in terms of Chauffeur's challenge at least, he's got a car in the form of Georg Gruber between himself and the car that he's chasing, which is Campbell up there in second. So not worked out too great for Chris Chauffeur, it has to be said. Jermaine Argard that we're looking at now, he's having himself a fair old squabble as well. These VW Jetta, seriously, somebody give these an award. I absolutely adore this stuff. This is really, really close racing. But we talked about strategy a lot. We've talked about fuel saving a lot. We've talked about playing the long game. Long game's over and done with, Chaz. 15 minutes to go. Sprint race time.
Yeah, this is sprint race time, isn't it? It's absolutely mega to see it. It's a hell of a lot of fun what these guys are doing. And it's a shame we don't have Jack Johns and Stephen King here, actually, for this round. I'd be worried that they'd put someone in the grandstands, but you know what? They'd be mighty entertaining on a circuit like this. I'm not sure if I've ever shown it to you, Paul, or how long you've got after the show, but back in the... God, I think it was after Season 2 of the British Boring Car Championship, we did what we called the Christmas Beach Party, where we took the Jettas to 4 circuits. One was an oval, which was the Daytona circuit from 2008, so it was bumpy as all sin. We then took them on one of the tiny road courses here, which was just the infield, the moto infield of this place. Then we went to a dirt oval and then a rallycross circuit, all in the Jettas in one night. And we had the big one at Daytona in the Jettas, and it's one of the funniest things I have ever seen in my life. About 17 Jettas, either on their roof, on their door handles, or on their noses, absolutely flying, just because they were all bump drafting like mad. One driver moved a little bit too far left and nerfed another. He hit another, they hit another, and it was just utter chaos. And I'm hoping we don't get the big one at Daytona tonight, despite there only being 6 of them, but I wouldn't put it past these boys just for a laugh at the end to cause a massive accident on the line.
Yeah, it's been suspiciously clean, hasn't it?
It has. It has, yeah.
It has been suspiciously clean. Like when you go on holiday somewhere in the UK and the weather's nice on the drive down and you think you're okay. That's what we are at the moment. It feels sunny. We're going to have a good time, Doug, until you get there and it's siling it down with rain. Well, that's basically, we're going to sail down with carbon fibre or massive pieces of steel in these cars.
Plastic.
Either way, yeah, plastic, that's more like it. Yeah, it's hard, creaky, cheap, discoloured plastic.
Faded plastic, yeah.
Love it.
Oh, I can see the duct tape showing through the vinyl on the bottom of these things. It's brilliant. Oh, 3 wide, diamond formation across the line in the chairs. That's a screenshot for the ages, that is. Patrick Dopart leads it for now. Cranstone down the inside. It's Morse around the outside. Then Van Alst there as well. Still 3 wide. It's turn 1. Henry turns in. This is what we've got to look forward to in a few months, Paul. This is epic stuff from these guys. Henry just keeping the car to the right-hand side. The door handles rattle off one another, but they make it through. Keep your central locking on, boys. You're going to need it. Little bit of a kiss there from Manitveld into the back of Henry Morse. They still remain side by side. Dopart and Morse here. This is just phenomenal. Let's not forget, Dopart wants the championship here tonight. He just needs to score 9 points. So this turquoise number 23 machine could be the champion, so long as he gets 9 points and outscores Cranstone. Funnily enough, just like we've written it, Cranstone leads the race.
Yeah, this is fantastic stuff. We need to really keep a concentrated eye on this one. Of course, you can't afford to be cautious if you're Patrick Dopart and you're looking for the championship, because any kind of weakness and you will be annihilated by the field. So the best form of defence, of course, is attack. That's the way to attack things. Jermaine Agard that we're looking with now in 6th position. He's a little bit detached from this battle, will probably be a little bit frustrated as well, because he'll want to buy into it and have the same kind of fun as the 5 guys ahead of them are having. But man alive, I just don't know. I don't know which way to go. But Jeremy definitely is keeping a weathered eye on things for now.
He absolutely is. There's a GR86 behind them now. Chevalier is just about to lap the Jettas for the first time, and it's taken an hour and a half for the GR86 to put a lap on it. Now, if you put these 2 cars side by side, you wouldn't think it would take an hour and a half for that thing with a gorgeous big wing on it, a little GT car, to put a lap on a diesel 5-door taxi. It's just mad. But look at it. Look at it in a straight line. The GR86 is revving its nads off, and it can't get past the coal-powered thing. It's just brilliant. Look at that.
Fantastic.
That's
scenes
funny,
here.
isn't it?
I love that. I do. This is why sim racing and esports are so good as well, because these are not what you consider the usual combination of multi-class racing. Love GT3s, love LMDHs and all that good stuff. You know, sometimes a change is as good as a rest, and I absolutely adore this, as everybody ain't going to be resting, Chaz, because that yellow machine is in a world of pain.
Yeah, a bit of contact there as well between Patrick Dopart and Sam Van Olst. The front left on Dopart's car took a hell of a knock. Let's do a stupid thing and go on board with Chevalier, because it's like being in the middle of a cityscape, this. Look at it. It's just multicoloured buildings all around you that have somehow grown wheels. Dopart and Van Olst side by side. He's going to get very close to the back here, and look, as we swoop back around again, suddenly vision's just going to get blocked by the big yellow cake that is the 92 car, the Goldwing Motorsport machine of Sam Van Olst. As he's now got Dopart around him. Sniff that tow hook. Dopart all the way around the outside, has to cut back in somehow. That's cost him big time. And it wouldn't be traffic without Austin Farr in the mix, would it, Paul?
Round the outside, love it, love it, love it. Austin Farr will have been delighted to see that little gap make its way up, and look how much easier for the BMW it is for the Toyota GR86. Look at that. That doesn't even. It looks like someone's done a speeded up video of a time trial run, doesn't it?
Yeah.
He's gone that fast away. Just those BMWs are lightning in a straight line, but sometimes that can get you into more trouble than it can help, because you think you've got the power, so you do silly things, and then when you go for the power, things go wrong indeed. By the way, I'd like to say a big thanks to Chaz Draycott, who's just reminded me in the Discord chat channel that we've got, it's Jeremy Agard, and not all the weird versions of Jeremy that I've been using. It's not so, Jeremy, I apologise wholeheartedly. I'm a simple man from the north of England, and any spelling that's outside of the standard completely throws me to six. Best part about it is, I've seen your name all season, and I've even studied it, and still got it wrong. So, Jeremy, I am very sorry, my friend, for that one.
It's not even his long-lost brother Jermaine driving the car for this final round of this season. We've got...
I despair at myself sometimes, honestly. I don't know how I make a living out of this.
You know what, Paul, we're here to entertain, and I'm sure the guys will agree that we have done just that. It's been massive entertainment to have you here with me for this season as well. Big thanks to Ed May as well for jumping in for the first race of the season. We've still got some great battles going on though. We've got the top four in the MX-5 separated by less than a second, which is just mental when you think about it. We've got second, third and fourth in the GR86s as well, separated by merely 6/10 as they head through onto the 43rd lap of the race. And then the leaders in the BMWs after all of this are only separated by just over a second as well. The whole Jetta, I know, innit? The whole Jetta field is just separated by 1.8 seconds after 1 hour and 13 minutes. Sorry, 1 hour and 33 minutes of racing. It's incredible. Really, really. I love this championship. They've done a great job with it.
Yeah, they have. FTR Events have done an absolutely sensational job, and you can see why there's 28 plus cars at the end of the season as well, where you always get massive drop-off in league racing. We've still got really, really big grids, because this is the kind of fun you can have.
Yeah.
An hour and 30 minutes of this sort of tackle. What sim racing driver worth their salt wouldn't want a piece of that one? It's absolutely incredible stuff. Great entertainment for us watching at home. An absolute blast, I'm certain, for the drivers behind the wheels as well. And still, with 6 minutes and 13 seconds on the clock, I haven't got a clue who's going to win any of the classes, apart from maybe Chevalier up there in the GR86s.
He's not even far ahead of the Jettas either, actually. He's still got them in his rear-view mirror. Look, just about back there, you can see them. But to be fair, Jake Cranstone is the one in command of the Jettas right now. Sam Van Olst is working overtime to catch back up with him, because Jake had a lead of over a second before. So right now, he'll be pleased to see that they have got all of these drivers sort of battling amongst each other. But I think some of them have settled down knowing that they could take on Jake. If Jake finishes where he is now with Dopart in third, I'm pretty confident that he has the championship wrapped up. He just needs, well... I mean, that's going to put the final nail in the coffin for Dopart. This is what I mean. This is what I mean. It's just epic position changing. Dopart makes one mistake. Through goes Henry Morse. And then you've got Manintveld wanting a piece of this as well. Jeremy Agard in there. I don't think Dopart's going to win the championship if that happens, because Cranstone, well, he may have Van Hulst all over the back of him with 5 minutes to go, but you know what? I think that Jake's... I mean, he's won the SRM GT4 Challenge in 2024. He's won all sorts, and he was always a front runner in the British Boring Car Championship as well. He's a lovely lad as well as Jake. It'd be great to get a word with him, but he's got it under control, and I don't think he's going to be phased in these final moments unless Sam does something bonkers.
Yeah, and that's the thing, that is entirely possible. Bonkersness is something that a virtual race car driver buries to the back of their heart and soul. When you're racing for an hour and 40 minutes, it tends to have a way of creeping its way to the forefront of your mind. So madness could ensue in this next 4.5 minutes of racing. Chris Chauffeur has had a relatively low-key race for Chris. We normally expect to see him a little bit more lively, a little bit more in the heart of things. But I reckon that he's winding himself up quite nicely now for, at the very least, the bottom step of the virtual podium when it comes to the Toyota GR86s. Georg Gruber is the car ahead. Evan Campbell is the car ahead of that one. So 3 cars for position on the final lap. That one doesn't sound like it's going to go too well on the final laps, should I say. Chris Chauffeur, he's been holding his water, Chaz, quite nicely this race. I think now feels like the time to put some scratches on that lovely green livery.
Yeah, I think if something's going to give here in front, I mean, Georg Gruber's done a great job holding third, but I think he might need to pit. Although, he needs to pit on lap 48. He's not going to need to pit because they're only on lap 44 here. They're not going to do another 4 laps, these GR86s. So, what I said earlier, often this happens in commentary. Forget what I said. Gruber he's in a pretty good place. A pretty good place. Van Hulst has dropped to 4th in the Jettas, now 3rd, as soon as we cut to it. But the battle's well and truly on here now behind Jake Cranstone for this lead. Giovanni Romano is 3 seconds clear at the top of the order. Looks like he's on his way to take all 4 victories this season, which will be incredible. He's shown incredible persistence and very, very solid consistency. These guys are getting a little bit dicey now. Van Hulst is getting his elbows out a little bit. Henry Morse moves to the left, maybe tries to give a bit of the slipstream to Sam Van Hulst. Have to wait and see how well he makes this last. Dopart round the outside, very late on the brakes. Is that too late on the brakes? So Paul doesn't look like it there. He's actually tucked it in nicely.
Yeah, nicely for Dopart there. I did think he was going to be a little bit vulnerable to a potential check from the cars behind, but he's, as you say, slotted back into position again.
Oh no.
So he'll learn that one. Oh, what's happened here?
Paul Hendricks having a drama at turn 1 there by the look of it. Let's just quickly catch this. I think he's just going to lose it on the downshift. It's a bit of an Achilles heel of this car, isn't it?
Yeah, horrible bit of race strike.
Oh, yeah.
Especially in these cars, you know it's going to happen 5 minutes before it happens, don't you? And there's nothing you can do about it apart from pray.
Indeed. God, look how fast it looks like the Jetta's going. It's only doing about 30, but it looks like it's doing about Mach 2 down that back straight. Now, Dopart has moved up into 2nd place here. It's between himself and Cranstone for the title here, as long as they both finish the race near the front anyway. Because in the rest of the Jettas, yeah, Jeremy Agard 7 points off, Henry Morse another 3 points off, Manintveld as well, and Van Hulst on 23. So really, it's between Cranstone and Dopart to take the title here tonight with the absence of Stephen King and Jack Johns. Evan Campbell as well is right under pressure from Georg Gruber again. I mean, you could say that, couldn't you, Paul?
Yeah, that looks like a man who's moderately enthusiastic about his prospects of finding a way past, doesn't it? It suggests that maybe he's enthused about the idea of an overtake.
That's one of the best quotes I've ever heard from you. Oh, Christ. We've got 1 minute and 14 seconds left on the clock here for Giovanni Romano. He's now 4.5 seconds clear of Tom Mayle, who seems to have conceded himself to 2nd position. But you know what? Before this race ends, I want to say a big, big well done to Tom Mayle, because he's had a very entertaining race, a very busy one, but he's been really showing Giovanni that he can put the fight to him, hasn't he?
100%. Tom's leaving nothing in terms of pace. It's just the execution of the race. Giovanni Romano, sometimes when you're that good, it just falls in your lap and everything goes right. But Tom Mayle, if he returns again to future iterations of this series, I expect absolutely to be on the money with Romano.
It looks like Giovanni's going to get another lap out of this race as well. 30 seconds left to go on the clock. I don't think he's going to get to the flag here before that. I don't think he's going to get to the flag after 0 here. We're going to get 51 laps for our leaders.
And yes, 18 seconds left for him. So Tom Mayle, second position. Austin Farr, despite his dramas in traffic... Oh, never mind. Well, that's like commentator's curse tenfold, isn't it? I don't think he expected it to go the extra lap, Paul. That's what that'll be, because don't forget he had a shorter pit stop than some of the other guys before.
Right, wind your mind back an hour and 39 minutes when we said this first stint in traffic and making sure that you get the slipstream and save the fuel could be critical at the checkered flag. Austin Farr is feeling that pain right here and right now. One small manoeuvre is the difference between having to make that stop and not, but I don't think he's going to lose too much.
Dopart and Van Ulster battle in side by side. Henry Morse goes to the inside. They're 3 wide in the Jettas. Henry really had to throw it down the inside there. These guys have got another lap after this, but what has happened to Sam Van Ulst? He's dropping loads of time. I think he had a slowdown penalty for that chicane. Dopart's getting a shove here, but Jake Cranstone is now 0.7 of a second in front with 1 lap to go. This is very, very exciting stuff from these guys. The MX-5s are also battling for the lead as well. Let's not forget about them. We're not showing them in a little bit. Miles Owens leads Martin Pearson, who is on for the title if he finishes in second place here. Ryan Chevalier, we need to figure out the GR86 points, actually. I think Austin Tucker, as long as he finishes, he's still in this in 6th place. No, Van Ulst is off. Van Ulst has thrown it into the pit lane. I think he has run out, and Tucker has just gone off the circuit, as I've said that. I think as long as Tucker finishes there, he should be okay. That might be one that we have to leave provisional, I'm afraid. But we know that one man is going to win the overall championship and win in the BMW M2s. The incredible Giovanni Romano, Paul. What a great, great season he's had.
Yeah, he's been absolutely sensational, Chaz, all the way through. And what a fitting way to end his campaign with a victory.
Yeah, incredible stuff. Giovanni crosses the line, wins the championship in the FTR Events PCC Plus in amazing style. All 4 victories go to Giovanni Romano. Tom Mayle crosses the line under the apron. He must have been listening earlier on. He crosses the line and takes second place. Austin Farr is going to come home in third, but we need to look at this, I'm afraid, everybody. We need to look at this lot. I don't think the MX-5s are further round, actually. The MX-5s are further round. Miles Owens is going to take the victory unless there's some chaotic slipstream now. Look at Justin Michaela. He's going to box Martin Pearson in here. Michaela could go for the win. Oh, I'm not sure. They're going to be very close. No, Martin, don't do it. Martin's going to take the title, but it's going to be 3 wide at the line. Pearson's going to take it. Great finish between them lot, Paul, but that's not how we wanted to see it done. Cranstone, though, is he on the brink of a title?
Yeah, let's have a look then at Jake Cranstone in the VW Jettas through the bus-stop chicane for the final time. Uses the curve, fair bit of caution. You don't want a slow-down penalty on this final tour of the race. Henry Morse, and then just behind his A-guard in third position. It's going to be a Cranstone win, but is it going to be enough for the championship?
We'll have to wait and see. Henry Morse is starting to close in now. It's a strangely scary sight to see that Jetta just edging towards you more and more, isn't it? Headlights ablaze. Let's not forget, Henry Morse beat Jake Cranstone to the title in the final meeting of the British Boring Car Championship last season. Is he going to creep along enough here to take it? I don't think so. Cranstone's going to win the race and the championship here in the FTR Events Production Car Challenge. Ryan Chevalier has won the race in the GR86s. Sorry, boys, we missed out on that one. And look at those 3 to the line. Look at that Gruber ahead of Campbell and Chauffeur. The 3 of them separated by 0.07 of a second at the line, Paul. What a season. What a championship. What an event. Brilliant fun.
Absolutely sensational. Georg Gruber, by the way, did get that second position right on the final lap, so that's a lot of disappointment, it has to be said, if you're Evan Campbell, but still third place for Evan. A fantastic job for Chauffeur up there in fourth position as well. But when you win a championship, Chaz, you like to win it with a victory, especially if you've been as dominant as that man Giovanni Romano. And goodness me, has he delivered in style. It didn't look easy out there. He had to be attacking, he had to be defensive, he had to soak up the pressure. And my God, Giovanni Romano has done all that with lob. Fantastic.
The Jettas are doing their usual reverse donuts here on the infield. This is something this car is very, very good at, being front-wheel drive. They love to do this in this car. The wheels spin that much, they don't actually look like they're spinning because it doesn't like to go in reverse. But yeah, the guys are all doing their very best here to celebrate. If we go to the scenic camera, it'll look amazing in the background. Look at that, it's like a light show. That's absolutely...
like Rouge on 24, love it.
Oh, that's mega. Martin Pearson celebrates his title in the MX-5s as well. We've got a great view of this, actually. We're going board with Eric Manningveld. Look at that. That's what it's like on Asda car park at 1 in the morning.
Do you know, I was just going to make that joke as well. I was just going to make that joke.
Great minds,
all
Paul.
you need is a big idiot stereo and lousy, horrible music, and you would be absolutely perfectly on cue.
Oh, great minds. Let's have a look at some results then, shall we? Oh, God. Giovanni Romano takes the victory in the M2s again. Incredible season from him. Absolutely incredible. Tom Mayle takes second place. Great to have him up there. And Austin Farr as well. Really good podium for him. Ben Chalcraft and Jakob Krafek on their day, well, on Jakob's debut anyway, very under the radar. Same with Connor Hatfield. Unfortunately, Richard Cawthraw called it quits in the elite stages of the race. But Paul, what about them GR86s?
Some fantastic racing then, and a well-deserved winner and champion, Ryan Chevalier, up there in first position. Look at the gap to the pack behind, almost 20 seconds. Georg Gruber finishes in that second position after a battle royal for the final laps. Evan Campbell rounds out the virtual podium in class from Chris Schofer and Paul Hendricks up there in fifth. Austin Tucker, though, finishes in sixth place after a nightmare event just ahead of Ron Wolf. And then Jackson Lowry, unfortunately, we didn't see in action, but it's classified in 8th position, 47 laps down from our race winner in class.
I think Tucker may take it with that, because at the end of the day,
yes.
It was Gruber that was second in the championship. Gruber got second in the race, though. That's going to have to be one that's provisional, unfortunately. But would you look at the gap between second, third and fourth? After an hour and 40 minutes of racing, there's less than 7/700ths of a second between them. That's just remarkable. And speaking of remarkable, we had a fantastic night in the MX-5s, and would you look at that? Martin Pearson beats Michaela and Owens by just 47 thousandths of a second, with Alex King only 2/10 back as well. Chris Flamion finishes in 5th. Matt Acton, unfortunately, a lap down after that big incident. And Thomas Weston, 31 laps down in the end. Pearson, with that one, should take the title. And Paul, what about your absolute favourites, mate? Them Jettas belting once again.
Unbelievable stuff. 4 cars separated by 0.5 of a second. I didn't think it was physically possible to gap those cars that close, but Jake Cranstone was the one that took the eventual victory of this race from Henry Morse in second place. Jeremy Agard, or Jermaine, or Jimmy, or Johnny, or whatever it is I pronounce his name at over the course of the broadcast, is a very commendable third at the line. Great performance from him. Patrick Dopart, 4th position. He avoided the drama like a true champion for 4th place. Eric Manninveld in 5th, and Sam Vernolz, unfortunately with the dramas on the final lap, is classified in 6th place. And Chaz, that was a great fight all the way through, wasn't it? And a great deserving champion as well.
Yeah, definitely. We've had some mega fights all season, and in the whole event and everything, it's just been great fun. And I'm sure the drivers all enjoyed it as well. We'll go back in time and just get a quick look here at some of the earlier shots from the race. Why don't we drag in, well, he's first to the flag and first into the interview waiting room as well. Giovanni, congratulations on an incredible season. You must be so happy with how that's gone. A final victory and a clean sweep.
Yeah, great season. Can't complain about the result. It was a fun race today.
I was going to say, you had a bit more company this time around. Tom Mayle kept you honest in that one, didn't he? We saw Tom a bit earlier in the season, and he was always exciting, but you just edged him out in the final stint there.
Yeah, it was a good race from Tom. It's kind of a shame what happened early on with the incident that I think took Richard out, because
yeah,
I think Richard would have been there with us, and that whole incident really sucked. But yeah, Tom kept me honest the entire way, and ultimately it came down to fuel, really. I think he was a lot tighter on... I overfueled a little more on the last stop so I could push,
okay.
And I think he underfueled a bit so he could get the jump, and I think at the end he just had to back off a bit because he was running out, and that ended up being the difference.
I was going to say, we were only about 15 seconds from going an extra lap, we were only 15 seconds into going an extra lap, and I think Tom, definitely backed out in that final lap, about 2 seconds off, but we also saw the same from Austin Farr as well, who pitted with 1 lap to go, so it was definitely the guys trying to take it as close as they could to the end. But what could you do to sort of sum up your season, Giovanni? You've not really got much you could improve on, really, there, have you?
No, really, to sum it up, this car just gel with it really well. It's only been out for 2 months, but I pretty much picked it up right away, and it just naturally feels It matches my driving style perfectly, so I don't even need to like put like I do put practice time into it, but like I find like I can drive it for like 15 minutes, half an hour, and I'm like dialed in at a track like super quick, which is definitely not the case with most other cars. So yeah.
Fair play to you, mate. Well, fair play. It's been great to watch you this season at a really amazing display. Is there anyone you'd like to give a shout out to before you go?
Shout out to my HJ teammates for keeping me company in the races. It was fun racing with them this season. Shout out to the admins at FTR. They're awesome. The leagues that they put on like this are wonderful. Me and my teammates all really, really enjoy them, and I'm sure we're going to be back for their future endeavors. And finally, thanks to you guys for the broadcast. You do a great job. Very entertaining.
Thank you very much, Giovanni. It's an absolute pleasure. Well done on your amazing championship, and we wish you the rest of the evening. Well, have a good one.
Yeah, you too. Thanks.
Giovanni Romano, Paul. Lovely bloke, and, well, you can tell he's just very, very pleased with the result. There's not really, like I say, anything else that could have gone better for him. Brilliant stuff.
Yeah, fantastic performance all season long, made no mistakes, showed rapid pace, took the pressure when he needed to, and got the best result possible every time. Fantastic.
He did an absolutely amazing job, and so too did Tom Mayle tonight. Really turned it up to gas mark 8, didn't you, tonight, Tom? You really pushed for that one. Just didn't come true in that final stint, but you must be pleased with how that's gone.
Yeah, I mean, considering I kind of forgot this race was tonight.
You're not the only one, so don't worry.
I think it went as best it could have gone. I would have liked to have battled Giovanni at the end, but my fuel calculator decided not to play ball, so I underfueled an unbelievable amount, which is why I dropped back so much at the end. I was having to lift everywhere, half throttle basically everywhere.
Oh man, it's devastating when that comes into play with these races. But that's what happens sometimes in stuff like this, isn't it? That's why these races can be more interesting than sprint racing, because it's not just down to out and out pace, is it?
Yeah, exactly. Like the fuel saving game was really fun. I think it was more fun than if we'd just been going sort of toe to toe, like flat out the entire way.
Yeah.
Especially at the start when there was 4 of us in the lead pack. That was really fun to find out the best way to fuel save.
It certainly looked like it, and I mean, it looks like you've had a lot of fun out there all season. Some of the races have been challenging, sure, but have you enjoyed yourself out there with these guys?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, the FTR community, sort of both from a kind of drivers and staff point of view, is one of the best communities in iRacing. Like, big up to Rich for cultivating such a good community. Really love it here, really love all the guys here. And you'll see me around in the future for sure.
Good to hear it, mate. Good to hear it indeed. One more question as well. What's with the livery, by the way? Because I was wax lyrical about Ainsley Harriott earlier on, but is there any reason for that?
I found it quite funny in British GT a few years ago when they had the Ainsley Harriott sponsor on some of the BMWs. I really like that. And then, the bonnet, the deal with it Mayo, that's a meme from the Pablo PGZ community.
Okay.
And the Subway sandwich on the roof is a meme, which I won't even try to explain.
I was going to say, we do often get weird things on the cars. Some of the cars have got animals on the roof, and we don't know why. But I think sometimes it's better for us to... It's like the fishing trip, isn't it? It's better to not find out sometimes and just let your imagination run with it.
Yep.
But either way, Tom, it's been great to have you in the series. Great to have you on our broadcast. Is there anyone you'd like to give a shout-out to?
I guess a big shout-out to Brandon Blakesley for making the livery. It looks fantastic as always. He's also great to work with in the stewards room for the other series. I guess the Fiercely Forward crew, back with my
not them
my
lot.
real team. Yeah.
I thought I recognised the logo. Jesus.
Well, yeah. Thanks to Ali et al. Great team. And yeah, thanks to yourselves for commentating on these races.
Absolute pleasure, Tom. It's great to have you in the box, mate. Lovely to see you again, and hopefully we'll see you again in our future series.
Yep, see you again soon. Cheers, Chaz.
Cheers. Tom Mayle, another lovely bloke, but it's great that they embrace the fun in these things, isn't it, Paul, with liveries like that, and just have a good time with it all.
Yeah, it really is. It's the community aspect, isn't it? Sometimes we can get a little bit wrapped up in our own self-importance in the world of sim racing, and it's nice to remember that, you know what, we do it because we love it, and that's what these chaps have been doing something for the pure pleasure of competition, and I hats off to that one. I have massive respect for this.
Yeah, it's really, really good, isn't it? And to be fair, it's always nice to have a chat with the drivers afterwards and get an idea of the characters that we have out there. One of the characters that was at the very top of his class, not just tonight, but now in the championship, Martin Pearson. You must be over the moon, mate, and probably a little bit relieved after that one, because flipping out, that was a busy one.
Yeah, I think relieved is the right word. That's certainly the overriding emotion at the moment for how on... The last 10 minutes were absolute agony going, right, who's going to push who? What gap do I want at the exit of the bus stop on the final lap? Do I want to lead? Do I not want to lead? All of these questions go through my mind. And it managed to play out. I was like, I believe I'm allowed to use the apron. So I'll use the apron because it's a road course, as it were.
You'll hear me moan about that because I disagree, but that's by the by, because it was a great race all the same. Those MX-5s are so much fun, aren't they? I was racing it again just last week, and I forgot how much fun it was. You must have quite the smile on your face when you get the thing wrangled properly.
Oh yeah, it's fantastic. Nice, a good slip angle, and yeah, it's brilliant. And really close racing, obviously, with the open top. The draft is really quite effective, so it keeps it nice and close. So no, they're fantastic cars, and that's why they're the only option for me when the season gets registrations open.
Fair play to you, Martin. Fair play indeed. Well done on the championship. Is there anyone you'd like to give a shout out to before we let you go?
Probably my girlfriend. She puts up with a lot. So yeah, shout out to her and the rest of the backmarket crew as well. They're a good bunch. And yeah, it's really enjoyable racing for them and racing with them.
Nicely said, Martin. Well, great to speak to you, mate. Thanks once again for joining us, and we hope to see you again in future series.
Cheers, guys.
Martin Pearson there, like he said, the Mazda, the only choice for him when it comes to something like this, Paul, and I can't blame him at all, can you?
Yeah, I think that's going to be a feeling that's echoed by many a driver on the iRacing platform. It's a beautiful car, in real life, of course, as well as in virtual. And Martin did a fantastic job for me all the way through that race. Really intelligent. You could see he was thinking forward so early in the race and deserves the payoff completely with a victory. Beautiful drive, and maybe not the most exciting drive we've seen, but absolutely effective as they come.
Yeah, definitely. And speaking of effective as well, a driver that every time I speak to him, he's been effective. Jake Cranstone wins the class tonight in the Jettas. Jake, you win just about everything I commentate on, but you must be over the moon with that, because like we just said to Martin, after an hour and a 40-minute long race like that, where it's so close, you must just be relieved after the end of it, surely.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it was a really fun night in the voice chat with all the guys. You know, we're having a great time. And, you know, there's a few laps to go, and we were just like, right, so what's the plan here? Because, you know, it's the whole race. You're waiting for the last lap, basically, with this draft. So it was good fun.
Yeah, definitely. It looked like it. And I knew that, you know, I mean, we speak all the time about the guys that you race with all being from the Racing Line Jetta Cup and all knowing each other for so long. That adds to the racing, doesn't it, with you guys? So you know what everyone's like and what they might be doing. And it just helps put on a show, doesn't it?
Great racing in it, really.
Well, it's certainly a car that we look forward to seeing on our screens again. Paul and I absolutely worship this thing, and just like you lot do, it's just a mega bit of kit. Are there any series lined up that you're going to be taking part in anytime soon that I'll see you in?
Well, yeah, Chaz Draycott Formula 1 Championship.
Oh God, yeah, that's shed.
I've heard that's coming back. And there's also Chaz Draycott Boring Cars Championship as well.
There will be. I'm excited to see how many of you boys are in that, because it was very entertaining last time.
send me the £5 later for the plug.
I've already sent it, you cheeky son. Still, what a great season for you though with these guys again, Jake, in such a fun-looking championship. How can you sum it up after a night like tonight?
Well, I missed the last round, so it's been a bit of a wait. So it sort of felt a bit disjointed for me because of the gaps with the Christmas, and then I missed the other race. So it was just good fun to get back on with the guys, really. Just a bit of fun, not really anything too serious.
Well, it's certainly been entertaining from where Paul and I have been in the commentary box. It's Paul's favourite class by some distance. Is there anyone you'd like to give a shout out to before you go?
Well, shout out to all the Jetta guys. Good to race with them again. Shout out to you and Paul for the commentary tonight, and everyone at FTR Events for putting on a great series again.
Well done, Jake. Great to speak to you again, mate, and see you back behind the wheel of the trusty Jetta, and hopefully see you again very, very soon. I'm sure I will.
Yes, thanks. Cheers.
Jake Cranstone there, winner of the SRM GT4 Challenge, and now the VW Jetta class in the FTR Events Production Car Challenge Plus. What a great season, Paul, filled with wonderful people, lovely racing, and as you mentioned before, great to see on a night like tonight we get 27 cars and an even split pretty much in all classes. Great participation.
Yeah, fabulous stuff. Everybody's a winner. We can only have one champion per class, of course, but everybody who goes out there, puts on a show, entertains themselves, entertains us, and the audience at home as well, is an absolute winner in my book. And goodness gracious me, I managed 3 of the 4 rounds this season, and each and every one of them have just been spectacular. I am a commentator. I'm supposed to say unbiased, but VW Jettas for the win. They're absolutely amazing and just brilliant stuff. Really great competition from FTR Events. Great stuff from yourself, Chaz Draycott, for broadcasting these races, and I'm happy and delighted and very grateful to have been a part of it. Loved every minute.
Well, thank you very much for being a part of it as well, Paul. It's been wonderful to have you in the box, mate. We are honoured to have you as part of the series and look forward to working with you again. We always have a good giggle, and hopefully you've all enjoyed the show wherever you may be watching from around the world. Thank you so much for joining us here in the FTR Events Production Car Challenge Plus. Thanks to everyone for organising the series and the drivers for putting on such great entertainment. For Paul for joining me in the commentary box, and Ed May for the first round as well. I've been Chaz Draycott. This has been the Chaz Draycott Media YouTube channel tonight for the FTR Events PCC Plus. Thanks for watching as always. We'll see you again soon, everyone.
And look at Jochen Hahn and Antonio Albacete. The two of them go flying through the right-hand side, then the left-hand side. Jochen Hahn around the outside, and Lucas Hahn, no father and son, come together on the exit of turn 1. And the best thing about this is the fact that it's still a 15-minute sprint race. They're not extended the time of the race. It's still just like, it's going to be, 7 laps as well? We get to the real nitty-gritty of motorsport.
Cranstone and Smith are side by side for the title in the very final race of the season. As they go back up the hill towards the Schumacher. Nils Core clips the back at 10. Simon Povey clips the side of Nils Core. They go over the hill and Povey's around. Oh my god, that's going to definitely be the thumbnail, isn't it? Hit me in the right direction. Thank you so much.
23 cars.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series in officially licensed cars engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.